Two. Not that it really matters. Okay, here we are live at PorcFest 2024. We've got Daniel Diaz from Citizens for Sound Money with us. We've got myself, Patrick Holland, Missouri Freedom Initiative, partnered with Citizens for Sound Money and Alpine Gold for this event. We wish to welcome you back. Kind of let you know what's going on so far this morning. We'll have plenty of guests joining us today. And by the way, if you're joining us this early, we need to let you know we will be on We Are Change tonight at 6 o'clock. Both Daniel and I will each have an hour with Luke Radowski.
Yes, and I'm not sure which one will be PG on YouTube and which one will be non-PG on Rumble, but one of us will be on the other broadcast.
Yep, that's true. So we will be doing that at 6 o'clock through 8 o'clock p.m. tonight. That's Eastern time on We Are Change, Luke Radowski's.
Can you refresh that when you have a chance?
Yep, sure can. It's time to refresh.
All right, we have a few guests already planned to be coming out at 2 o'clock. We're going to have Silver Dave. Silver Dave is a silversmith here in New Hampshire that is famous for doing the 1/10 ounce rounds of silver. He's going to be coming out. We met with one of his partners here at PorcFest, and we'd love to talk to him about some sound money. So at 2 o'clock, we expect to see Silver Dave here, and I think we have a few other guests planned.
We have an economist, another economist, or some kind of financial planner. I'm not sure.
He's a registered rep, I think, or he's a financial advisor, so he has to be careful what he says because FINRA likes stealing our constitutional rights when it comes to being a financial advisor.
Yep.
I know this because I had my constitutional rights limited as well.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll get financial folks on. And we'll see if we have one or two other guests joining us to help inform and entertain at PorcFest 2024. Daniel actually spoke this morning. We were also on Ron's base. Oh, hang on. Let's start with Ron's basement. So at 10:15 this morning, if you go to Ron's Basement YouTube channel, Daniel and myself, and we had Adam Van, holy mackerel, Dr. David Schlereth, we had Eric Brakey, all joining on Ron's Basement.
Really, Eric showed up. That's awesome.
Eric shows up anytime there's a broadcast, we've noticed. So it's
awesome.
kind of weird. He's got this second sense about these things.
He does.
And but it's always welcome. He's always welcome, and we love visiting with him. And if he shows up here, we'll have him on again. But he is the director of the Free State Project.
Executive director.
Executive director. So let's make sure we get titles right here. So let us know if you can hear us by throwing liberty and or freedom or liberty and freedom into the chat. Let us know if you can hear us. Let us know if the audio is reaching you. And yep. So we've noticed that we don't get a lot of views on YouTube, or at least that's what it looks like. We do have an awful lot of people watching us on Twitter. So first off, I want to say hello to everyone on Twitter. Thank you for joining us today. Seems to be a platform that is very welcoming of sound money. Indeed. Well, you kind of got the crypto degens that are kind of a digital sound money, and we also have some gold and silver guys that are in Twitter that like following us. You know, you got the Mike Maloney's of the world, you have Keith Weiner and a few other Arcadia Finance, others that are in sound money in Twitter, and it seems to be that's where freedom lies when it comes to freedom of speech, especially since Elon Musk bought Twitter and changed it to X. That's right. YouTube, on the other hand, well, the evil Google runs them, so. Yep, the evil people of Google. And it's apparently not very friendly with sound money, but then again, Google, has some issues with censorship. Yes, they do. Yeah, and we're never really quite sure. Do you keep up with the end user license agreement with anything Google, Daniel? No, no. You should, because we encourage you to read. And they release a new end user license agreement about once a month. And so, yeah. That's why I such things all the time. Yep, that's right. Yep. So, okay, I'm sorry. Going back to what we did today so far, before we start getting into some other stuff. So we were on Ron's Basement, and that was welcome. Ron is a very, very good friend of Citizens for Sound Money, the Missouri Freedom Initiative. He's a very good friend of, Alpine Gold Exchange and UPMA. So Ron has been a quintessential player, despite the fact that, he's just running a silver and gold YouTube channel. He is very powerful in what he does. And he's garnered an enormous amount of respect from the silver and gold community.
Yeah, and I think it's mainly because he is able. He doesn't just talk about gold and silver prices, but he also talks about the geopolitical situation of sound money, what's going on with BRICS. He's talking about what's going on in the United States with the Sound Money Act and other legislation that is pro sound money.
Yeah.
So I think he has not just focused on the niche of sound money or gold and silver pricing and talking about what gold and silver is doing, because there's so many people out there doing that. He's broadened his audience and is educating them on what's happening around the world and across the country for freedom and liberty when it comes to sound money.
Yep. So a big shout out for Ron's Basement. He's on YouTube, he's on Rumble, and he's on Twitter. So he is sensitive also to the fact that YouTube may or may not be friendly. But after during Ron's Basement, Daniel had an appointment to keep. And so tell us about that appointment you had to keep.
Yeah, I was actually speaking here at PorcFest. I had an 11 o'clock speaking engagement. My talk was called The Sound Money Movement, a Foundation of Freedom. And I essentially just did an introduction of who I am, what Citizens for Sound Money is doing, and who Citizens for Sound Money is. And then I kind of just described my story because our founder, our late chairman, Jim Forsyth, told me when we were in Missouri that I should start my testimony with my history of how I got into liberty and freedom. Basically, my story from being first generation Cuban American, what my family went through in Cuba, how America provided them the American dream, and what happened with my family, and how I dedicated my life to preventing what happened to my family's country to happening to my country. And he felt that was one of the most powerful stories that can really resonate with people who are listening. And I think Jim had a wisdom to really pick out some strengths and see things in people that people didn't see in themselves. And he made sure he made that very clear to me that he wanted me to use that. And I'm going to use it every single time because apparently it does resonate with people. And typically I get a pretty good round of applause when I tell the story. And
you got a standing ovation.
Yeah, I got a standing ovation. So, but yeah, that's and then I just got into the history of money slightly and talked about the Federal Reserve and what we're doing with the legislation and how sound money is a foundation of freedom, and what are we doing to bring freedom back, and how is sound money going to do that? So that was the basic topic of my talk, and you'll be able to watch it in the future, right? And right now you have to pay to watch it if you want to watch PorcFest. There's basically a speaker every hour on the hour. I think until about like 6 p.m. of each day. So I think the talk started at 8 a.m. to like 5 or 6 p.m. every single day, maybe even later. And if you want to be part of the digital PorcFest, you can buy a digital ticket to watch the talks, and maybe you might be able to go back and listen to my speech if you'd like.
But you answered questions too, didn't you? There was a question and answer session.
Yeah, so there was a question and answer session, and I was just I was asked about asset-backed digital currencies, questions about the corruption, and why are we working within the political system even though it's corrupt? Because we at Citizens for Sound Money launched a super PAC called Economic Freedom PAC so that we can support our sound money friends in politics and fight against our enemies and try to get those who are against sound money and liberty out of office. And they were asking, well, why do you got to work within the system? Well, unfortunately, for those of you that have never experienced lobbying or lobbied in any state or federal government, corruption is real. And I hear myself. What is that?
I'm sorry. So I'm sharing the video out.
No worries. So I was just explaining that the reason we had this super PAC. Oh, the question was specifically, what if somebody pretends to be a sound money advocate? We help get them in office just to get money from us, and then they go against sound money principles. Well, I told them, unfortunately, there are pretty good con artists even in government that can fool people. And if they fool me and the other members of our super PAC, and votes against sound money and liberty, well, then we'll use the money from the super PAC to get them out of office. If we can help somebody get into office, we can easily use those funds to get them out of office if they lied to us about being sound money advocates and lovers of freedom and liberty. So so we have this Economic Freedom PAC, which is a super PAC. We have Citizens Sound Money, which is a 501c4 organization that is focused on legislating sound money principles into the state legislatures and to basically uphold Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution, which allows states to make gold and silver coin legal tender for the payment of debts and taxes. And then we also have the 501c3 organization, which is called the Sound Money Movement, SMM Inc. And it's going to be an education foundation. We provide scholarships for those who are into sound money. We'll probably launch a scholarship, another scholarship fund. Right now, we had a scholarship fund for a student in Turkey who wanted to be a part of the learn how to do silver casting and so forth, and we provided them a monthly scholarship for 1 year, and we're probably going to expand that scholarship program as we raise funds, as our 501c3 was recently approved through the IRS back in April. So we have a 501c3 Sound Money Movement, 501c4 Citizens for Sound Money, and we also have Economic Freedom PAC, which is a super PAC in the United States, so that we can be involved in the political process and not just legislate, but we can help get people elected and so forth. So that is just a little bit about what I discussed at the talk, and that's why I had to leave Ron's basement a little early. I know Ron had some great guests with Eric Brakey and Dr. David Schlereth from Florida. And for those of you who don't know who Dr. David Schlereth is, he's kind of like the behind-the-scenes sound money puppet master, connecting and networking everybody together. He knows everybody in the sound money movement. I don't know how he's done it. He just cares so much about sound money, liberty, and freedom. He's just kind of put himself in the middle of the entire movement and knows everybody and is trying to connect everybody.
Well, I think it's a business move on his part. I mean, he's selling goldbacks right here in New Hampshire. He's a repository for goldbacks.
Dr. Schlereth.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Adam Bench.
No, Dr. Schlereth.
Okay, Dr. Schlereth. No, Dr. Schlereth, you're right. He's just a guy that cares very deeply about people's freedoms and about what's coming down the pike financially. Yes. And by the way, I wish I had this. Guys, I would love to actually let you know that Rob Keynes will be joining us this evening. Now, he won't be on any broadcast this evening, but he's joining us here in New Hampshire this evening, and we'll definitely have him on tomorrow. He is speaking publicly tomorrow as well. And
5 p.m.
Yeah, and Rob Keynes is another one of those guys who just cares so deeply about the movement. Now, I understand he is on the board of Citizens for Sound Money, but he will be here as well, and also he'll have quite a crowd here tomorrow night for his speech. But Dr. David Schlereth, the special story there is how he brought us all together through the channel called Ron's Basement.
Indeed.
And that's a special story in itself. And here, there's a guy, he doesn't benefit from doing this other than literally trying to save the country.
Yeah.
Trying to save the country for the financial disaster, the financial hurricane that is coming. And not only that, we have evidence. I talked about Rob Keynes. He posted an incredibly informative graphic about how bad the losses are on the banking level right now. Maybe you can find a graphic and we can find a way to pull it up. But the reason why it's so stellar to watch, this in real, and this is about commercial real estate, gang, is that the banks are far worse off now than they were in 2008. Far worse off. And Rob has a great graphic illustrating that. And maybe tomorrow when we have him on, we'll find that graphic and we'll show you guys what's actually going on. And Long Lived Coins is checking in. Citizens for Sound Money. Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody, for being a part of the broadcast this week. I know we've been broadcasting since Tuesday, every single day for at least, 3 to 6 hours a day. We take a intermittent break. Today, we're going to be broadcasting till about 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And then we're going to have about a 2-hour break, and we'll be back on, not on this channel, but on
We Are Change.
We Are Change with Luke
Radowski. Redkowski, something like that. Yeah.
We Are Change. Go to We Are Change on YouTube, We Are Change on Twitter, and We Are Change on Rumble. The first hour will be on YouTube. The second hour will be on Rumble. I'll be on the first or second hour, and Patrick will be on the first or second hour. We don't know which one yet.
Yep, we don't know. But the good news is actually we will be able to spread the word about Sound Money to nearly a million people on that broadcast this evening. So that's really exciting for us, especially since we are right here at PorcFest right now. And Luke has a very respectable following. He is absolutely loved in the, I would say the libertarian space, but just the freedom, liberty space. So we look forward to joining his crew for the broadcast tonight. Rob Kynes, of course, like I said, he's a superstar among us as well. And we'll be welcoming him onto the show tomorrow. So stay tuned for tomorrow's show. And also, too, he'll be speaking here publicly. So if you're watching our broadcast from PorcFest, be sure to be in the pavilion at 5 p.m. tomorrow for Rob Kynes and his speech that he'll be giving. And he's a very powerful speaker, by the way. So is Daniel. What we saw today was amazing. He very, very responsive crowd, really liked the message, and they definitely gave us, a lot of respect for the message Daniel delivered today. So a big thank you to everyone at PorcFest that joined us for Daniel's speech today. Liberty Revolutionaries checking in, saying, hey there, Caleb. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining. And we'll have intermittent guests today. We just don't have exact times here.
And hello to Corey K from Twitter. Thank you for listening.
Hey, Corey. Thank you for joining, man. Looks like we have 12 viewers on Twitter. When we get started, it's always a little bit slow. 3 viewers on YouTube. But watch, it won't take long, and we'll have hundreds of viewers on Twitter like we always do.
Yes, indeed. So I'm excited about the guest that we're about to have on. I'm looking forward to speaking to another economist. Yesterday we spoke in length, and it was a great talk with Jason Soren, who's a co-founder of the Free State Project, inadvertently a co-founder of PorcFest, since Free State Project founded PorcFest.
That's right.
And we talked about pretty much not everything, but quite a few things on about the economy, the housing market, currency, the problems with fiat, how sound money can actually stabilize people's lives. Giving advice to people on how they can start saving in real money versus currency. If you don't know the difference, the main definition of sound money, or money itself, is that it's a medium of exchange, a unit of account, and it's a store of value. However, if it's not a store of value, like currency, because of inflation, it's not money. It's just currency. The currency has the first 2 characteristics of money, which is a unit account and a medium exchange, but it does not store your economic energy. It doesn't store wealth.
That's right. And hello to Voodoo Queen, who's joined us. It feels like the Missouri Freedom Initiative is checking in on YouTube. Love you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you
for joining. Thank you for joining, everybody. I was in Missouri for 2 months, so I've become quite acquainted with the Voodoo Queen and Liberty Revolutionary and all the members of the Missouri Freedom Initiative.
Yep. So, and of course, they're all about sound money as well. Missouri Freedom Initiative was the driving force behind the legislation to make silver and gold legal tender in the state of Missouri. You guys did an outstanding job. Unfortunately, Dean Plocker had other plans. He single-handedly decided for 6 million Missourians that they were not going to have silver and gold as legal tender, despite the fact that the support and all the votes were there in the House to get it done. He didn't seem to care. So, so for Dean Plocker, we don't really care a whole lot about you ever getting elected again.
Yeah,
how are we supposed to care about him being elected when he doesn't care about Constitutional Money Act?
He would make a horrible Secretary of State. So if you're thinking about voting for Secretary of State in Missouri, please don't vote for Speaker Plucker, because he does not care about your constitutional rights according to the Missouri Constitution. He flat out told me to my face that he doesn't really care, and that
He said the courts didn't care either.
And the courts didn't care either, that we can take it to court. They'll just hold up any legislation for 2 years, and we won't have that legislation active for however long the courts decide to hold on.
Yeah, something like that.
So, do you really want somebody as your Secretary of State who doesn't care about the Constitution, who doesn't care that there's legislation out there that will support the people and help the people, and is looking basically for his own selfish ends?
Yeah.
Self-interest.
Yeah. I'd like to preemptively say you're welcome to Dean Plowker for the shout out. You're welcome, sir. And I hope you never get elected again for anything, not even dog catcher.
Yeah. The gloves are off. He's not an elected official. He can't stop our legislation next year.
Yeah.
And his loyalists, are going to be his loyalists regardless, but he doesn't have any power. So his influence is diminished quite a bit.
Yep. And it's very sad that it comes to that. Daniel actually spoke well of the efforts in Missouri, the groundswell of support for the legislation, and the one man who decided for 6 million people that they could not have that legislation. And so he actually did tell the story right there on stage, right here.
Yeah.
At PorcFest, in the pavilion, and he actually conveyed the story quite well. So Dean Plowker, we're doing everything we can to make sure that you are famous.
Yeah, we'll make sure you're infamous, actually.
Infamous. There we go.
So, when we're lobbying, we be as nice as possible. Do everything we can with our friends and our enemies to try to get sound money and freedom passed through. But after you are no longer in office, my dear friend, your legacy is up for grabs. So we'll make sure your legacy is well known.
Yep. So I'd like to remind you that Citizens for Sound Money is here for the duration of PorcFest, and we have several events going on. But I want to talk about two in particular, particularly if you're in PorcFest or if you are very near to New Hampshire. Get in your car and get here, because tomorrow night we have literally End the Fed Happy Hour. You heard me right. End the Fed Happy Hour right here in the Sound Money tent, right here at PorcFest. What does that mean? Cheese and wine. So we're going to have cheese and wine here. We have silent auctions going on with silver and gold. And so come one, come all for wine, cheese, and silver. But also, we have a breakfast burrito. This is literally Saturday, right before Ron Paul speaks. We will be in the pavilion selling breakfast burritos. That's right. So we serve the Ron Paul Liberty Breakfast this year, right here in the pavilion before Ron Paul speaks. So come one, come all. It is the best deal in town. It's $15, but it's a big burrito.
12 inches to be in fact, and it's going to have chorizo. We're in a majority with chorizo. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, burritos.
Yep, that's right.
And the rest will be veggie burritos. So.
That's right. So this will be the best breakfast you'll have at PorcFest, guaranteed. So come one, come all. We are selling tickets today and tomorrow in advance of this happening. So please do join us for this event. And once again, we serve right up until Ron Paul speaks. So right here in the pavilion, Citizens for Sound Money breakfast burrito. We're calling it the Ron Paul Liberty Breakfast. So you can be a part of this right before Ron Paul speaks. So come join us. But don't forget, the night before, we have cheese and wine. Please don't drink too much wine, though. You need to get up early to come in for the breakfast burrito.
Indeed, but definitely come in and drink some wine and crackers.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Also bid on some of the great collectibles, jewelry. We have silver collectibles. I know that Patrick here has donated at least, 6 ounces, 7 ounces? 7 ounces silver in collectibles. One of them is a 5-ounce round that is quite beautiful. And then the other one is a 2-ounce round. And I know Rob Keynes, one of our board members, he's bringing in some jewelry he's donating, and we're in some other collectibles and rounds to give away. So we'd love you to come in, be a part of the End the Fed fundraiser Friday night at 6 p.m. here in the Sound Money Market tent in PorcFest, Lancaster, New Hampshire at Rogers Campgrounds.
That's right. We've also been having some 50-50 drawings every night, Daniel. You want to speak to that?
Yeah, so we do a 50-50 raffle every single day. The first day, I think the grand prize was 130. Yesterday it was around $90, give or take. So every single day we're doing a 50-50 raffle. Half the funds go to Citizen Sound Money to support what we're doing with sound money movement, legislation, and so forth. So if you would like to participate and you are online, you could donate to Citizens for Sound Money .org. Go to donate, and then when you do the donation, put in there that it's for the raffle tickets, and we'll go ahead and physically fill in your information. So make sure you put your phone number and your name, and indicate in the comments when you donate that you want to buy. So here's the prices in fiat, because we don't have gold backs, so you can't do gold backs. $1, one ticket for $5. Sorry, one ticket for $5, or 5 tickets for $20. So if you do a $20 donation or a $5 donation or anything in between, you can do that online. We'll go ahead and physically do the tickets.
Keep it going here.
We have our lovely volunteer here, Jennifer, who has something to say about that.
Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward to seeing you. So today, we're actually selling quite a few raffle tickets. The pot's going to be bigger today, and I would love you guys to get in and have some fun and support what we're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, everybody. So, please support Citizen Sound Money here at PorcFest or online. And if you want to help one of our volunteers come and get into the End the Fed happy hour, go ahead and donate. You might want to support what we're doing, but you're not here physically, but you can pass it forward, buy a ticket for the End the Fed happy hour, and we will give it to one of our lovely volunteers that have been helping out. So if you want to help out Citizen Sound Money, go ahead and donate $50. Indicate that it's for a scholarship, I guess you can say, for one of our volunteers for the End the Fed fundraiser, and we'll go ahead and give that ticket to one of our lovely volunteers.
Yep. So, guys, this has been a blast. Let me talk a little bit about the local flavor of the environment at PorcFest. For those of you who have never been, I myself am a PorcFest virgin, except for this year. I actually came for the first time this year.
Me too. Me too.
So, this is actually a wonderful experience. First of all, like-minded people all over the place. People who believe in liberty and freedom and believe in sound money. So we've talked about this before. In fact, we have a camera view of the Alpine Gold table that we show from time to time. They're always busy over there. People are constantly coming over and buying gold backs. That's how popular this tent is. Alpine Gold is doing quite well. And but don't forget, there's more than just Alpine Gold in this tent. We have Citizens for Sound Money. We have T-shirts. In fact, we even have a Sound Money T-shirt, and I'm going to switch the view here. Sound Money T-shirt, shameless plug hour. Sound Money T-shirt right here. This is from Missouri. So this actually is commemorative of our SB 100 bill, a groundbreaking bill that was filed, let's see, it'd be December 1st of 2022. That would be Senator Bill Eigel. Groundbreaking, all in one, what we called the entire enchilada in one bill for sound money. Of course, Dean Blocker had other plans and decided in 2023 that we couldn't have sound money in the state of Missouri. He also decided that for 2024. So everyone in Missouri who happens to watch this, just remember, Dean Blocker doesn't want Missouri to have sound money. He does this by just not allowing it on the floor. So it's not like he goes around saying, I hate gold and silver. I hate the Constitution. Well, actually, he kind of, yeah, he does. So, yeah.
Actually, he doesn't hate the Constitution, but he will tell us to our face that he loves sound money. In fact, he lied to my face and, oh, I love this bill. We're going to push it through all the way. Not. He just said that so that we wouldn't attack them during session. Because, he's a political animal. He understands how things work. And, he played the game well. And he loves lying to people. And then because, we didn't give him a bunch of money. I bet you if we gave him $50,000 for a secretary, or no, what was your lieutenant governor, I bet you that bill would have gotten on the floor right away.
But guess who's not running for lieutenant governor anymore? Yeah. Dean Blocker. Yeah, because of his nastiness last year and this year, he couldn't raise enough money to continue running for lieutenant governor. So he switched his preference to Secretary of State, which would be a much, much easier thing for him to do. Granted, the fact he is not pulling in donations for his campaign. So at any rate, so yeah, we feel bad for Dean, don't we?
No.
No, we don't. We're going to be honest. Dean, unlike you, we're going to be honest. We don't feel bad for you. We feel it's kind of justified here. And we hope you, you know what? He comes from, like Chesterfield, Missouri. Maybe he could be dog catcher in Chesterfield. Maybe the Speaker of the House, who lied, cheated, took an enormous amount of money to stop legislation like IP reform and silver and gold. Maybe he would be a good dog catcher.
Yeah, he would be a great dog catcher.
I think he could do it. I mean, he's a big guy.
And he can lie to the dogs, and dogs won't know any different.
Yeah, the dogs really wouldn't know. Liberty says, really love to come next year if y'all are going again. Well, we'll have to see if we're coming again. We'll have to see what next year brings. Let's see. Liberty also says Dean Plocker's campaign has been a joke. Guys, for those of you watching right now, please don't get turned off by this conversation. This is actually extremely relevant. And I'm sorry about our buffering on YouTube right now. We do have intermittent connectivity issues. We are using Starlink right now to connect to the interwebs, because that's all we have out here. So please put up with the minor buffering. It seems like it's not quite as bad on Twitter as it might be on YouTube, but it might be the YouTube gods. Let me say why why talking about the Missouri Speaker of the House is relevant. This man single-handedly stopped an enormous amount of liberty legislation in the state of Missouri. He had a hand in slowing down or stopping the Second Amendment Preservation Act for, I believe, 3 years. He stopped IP reform, and he also stopped silver and gold. Yeah. And so these are the things that Missouri needs to have more liberty, to have more freedom, to protect the Constitution of Missouri. But Dean Plocker is much more interested in protecting his campaign donations. But the problem is that he has been caught in 4 scandals in 2023 alone. Just in 2023, he's been caught in 4 scandals. So Dean Plocker, if you're out there, big hello to you. Thank you for joining us, by the way, Dean. And we hope you get dog catcher in Chesterfield next time that election's coming up.
Just to stop picking on Dean Plocker for a little bit, it isn't just Dean. It's pretty much every single member of leadership, whether it was a Speaker of the House or Senate President of each state in the 27 states, that killed the legislation, the sound money legislation, whether it was getting rid of capital gains, getting rid of sales tax, like they tried in Hawaii and it failed, or any other, or the Sound Money Act, like in Florida with Senate President Pasadomo. Now, Senate President Pasadomo, she should be termed out, but because the census happened on, I think, one of the years she was elected, she has 2 more years. So she's going to be in office for 1 or 2 more years, but she will not be Senate President. But she also killed the Sound Money Act in Florida, and we have no reason why. Pressure didn't work on her. Nothing worked on her. I'm guarantee you that if we would have given her $50,000 that she could give to other Republican senators that could have gotten elected, she would have thought differently and would have actually allowed the Sound Money Act to be. That's the problem with our political process right now. And this is why we have boots on the ground at Citizens for Sound Money. You have to have boots on the ground to know what is going on around the country or what's going on in your state legislature, because if it wasn't for the fact that we were active on the ground for SB 735 in Missouri, we would not have been able to get it out of the Senate, because it literally hours, minutes before the Senate got on the floor to hear SB 737, we were 1 vote shy, and we whipped the vote. We answered all the questions we needed to answer. We did some log rolling, and we finally got the votes that we needed to get SB 735, the Constitutional Money Act, through the Senate into the House. And then you got Plocker, similar to Kathleen Pasadomo and Representative Hunt in the Finance Committee here in Missouri and a few other states. Pretty much every other state, somebody in leadership kills. You
know what? I just thought of something because of what Voodoo Queen put in here, not to mention the alcohol problem, the private liquor room. I would like to invite Dean Plocker to tomorrow night's cheese and wine event.
He drink it all.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. I'm sorry, Dean. I'm gonna take away that invite. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, look, everything. I'm all right with having a scotch from time to time with somebody in your office, but you know, when it's a little more than when the rumors go around that you're always sloshed, that's a little different.
Yeah, I know. And well, actually, I've never seen Dean Plocker under the influence. He
Mm.
drinks a lot though, but I think he's got an extremely high tolerance from college or something. So that's my guess. I don't know. I mean, Dean and I don't talk about such things.
But to his credit, he did say he refound Jesus or something. So
Yes, apparently, yeah, he's renewed his relationship with Jesus, but it didn't help his demeanor. He's still killing the good legislation, taking enormous amounts of money to do so. But he did say that he's renewed his relationship with Jesus. Liberty Revolutionary says many people in leadership in every state have ties to bankers and large corporations that simp for the bankers. That is absolutely correct. We have no evidence that was the case in the state of Missouri for shutting down the Silver and Gold Constitutional Money Act, but it is possible. Hey, listen, since we're on that topic, let's talk about this real quick, Daniel.
Yes.
You and I are both legislative guys. We're not politicians, obviously,
yeah,
but we lobby for sound money legislation.
yes,
So one thing we'd like to let people know is if you want sound money legislation in your
Yes.
state, these are the guys you want to talk to right here.
yep.
So
In fact, if you want your state, if you're watching this right now and you live in a state where gold and silver isn't legal tender and electronic gold or silver isn't legal tender, which is every single state, FYI, hint, hint. If you want us to come to your state and push the Sound Money Act, go to citizens, the number 4, soundmoney.org. You'll see it scrolling right here at the bottom, right there. There it is. Citizens for Sound Money. .org. Fill out the form under the legislative initiative that you are interested, and tell us what state you're in, and we will contact you in the next couple of weeks and we're going to be putting our list together to put our top priority states that we want to target on our list, and we'll be reaching out to you, and we'll start reaching out to legislators in your state to bring sound money legislation.
Yep.
I can tell you off the top of my head that we at least have 6 or 7 top priority states, which include the 5 states that we targeted this year, which is Florida, New Hampshire. Whoa, what are you? Get off me. I had a bug biting me and sucking blood out of me.
blood-sucking bugs in New
It
Hampshire.
looked like a blood-sucking
Wow.
fly. It was
Is probably under orders of Dean Plocker.
It was Dean
Yeah.
Plocker trying to get back at me. It was strange. It was on the palm of my hand, and I'm bleeding from the palm. Sorry, that was a distraction. What was I saying?
I don't know. I got distracted by the blood-sucking bug.
Yeah, the blood sucking blood. The blood sucking blood. There you go. Top priority states. Top priority states.
Yep. So
New Hampshire, South Carolina, Florida, Missouri, Texas,
Idaho,
and I think Oklahoma, and Nebraska. Right?
Yep, I think so.
Those are our top states. But we have a brand new employee. Her name is Missy Woodward. She's our revenue officer, and her job is to help Citizens for Sound Money raise enough money so that we can increase our reach, hire other lobbyists to go out and have more boots on the ground and really push, and also help us raise money for our super PAC so we can help get our friends elected, support them through the elections, and also help increase donations to our 501c3. So if you want to give to Citizens for Sound Money, you can go to our website, click on donations, and go ahead and give a donation so that we can continue doing our work of trying to bring freedom through sound money legislation.
I'll bring that website up for you real quick here, and we'll do a little tiny walkthrough. Give me just a moment. We do have right here. Oh, boom, through the magic of technology. Here we go. When you go to Citizens for Sound Money, it is right here in the top of the page, donations. You can click there and actually donate money to Citizens for Sound Money to help the effort to get legislation passed in states. Now, once again, this is actually a really important distinction I need to make right now. Citizens for Sound Money does not lobby in DC. They don't do that. They're working with individual states. So it's not like the money gets thrown away into, the vast darkness of DC, never to be seen from again, and sinking into the belly of the beast without a trace. This actually helps individual states with individual pieces of legislation. We like to call it, unfortunately, there's two terms right now, the Sound Money Act and the Constitutional Money Act. So, but they're both the same thing, which is actually restoring the people's rights and the businesses' rights, the state's rights to use sound money for transactions in your state. And in order to do that, you have to get rid of sales tax if your state has it, but also get rid of capital gains tax. So that's and also along with making it legal tender. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
But whistles and bells often show up in legislation, like in the Missouri Constitutional Money Act. Anti-commandeering doctrine was employed in the legislation, basically saying that the state would not help with any confiscation efforts of gold and silver of the federal government. Indeed, the state itself cannot confiscate gold and silver without due process. So we refer to that as anti-commandeering doctrines, 10th Amendment stuff. It prevents civil asset forfeiture. It's kind of a cure-all to make sure that the tyrants can't be all tyrannical.
Yes, indeed, indeed. So, I mean, the Sound Money Act is quite a comprehensive piece of legislation, which is probably another reason why the bill died. It was confusing to some legislators. They didn't quite understand or grasp how it would all work together, or they were afraid it might cost too much, even though we educated them and said it won't really cost the state anything because of the private solutions out there that would be able to cut the fiscal note to pretty much zero for every single state. But even though we educated the state legislators about the fact that they probably won't cost the state anything, it still seemed too complicated to them. So what we're planning on doing, instead of Sound Money, is breaking up the Sound Money Act into multiple bills, finding multiple sponsors, because that strategy worked extremely well in Missouri. Let's say the leadership wants to kill something that's a little more high profile, we'll have a few other bills under the radar that might be able to get through some of the legislators, at least to the House floor, or almost to the House floor, like it succeeded in Missouri.
Under the radar. I like that.
Yes, yes.
And also, too, we may have a good friend of ours by the name of Asa come up on camera and play a few tunes for you on his acoustic guitar. He's a good friend of Citizens for Sound Money. He's been hanging out here at the booth. We've gotten to know Asa a little bit, and this man has quite a bit of talent. So I tell you what, it looks like Asa might be able to join us right now. So actually, yeah, you'll have the microphone in front of your guitar.
How's it going?
It's going good. Asa, hey, welcome, of course.
Great to be on.
And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm just a regular dude who found out about PorcFest a while ago. And it's been struggling in this crazy economy since I got going in the job market. I'm 32, and it has been unfair since the very beginning.
Sure.
And so, I said something's got to be done here, and despite all kind of conspiracy theories or whatever, my biggest goal is, can we get this money right? Because if the money's messed up, then we don't have a stable economy. If we don't have a stable economy, then we don't have freedom or liberty.
That's right.
100%. I agree. 100%. And Asa, we got talking the other day. We got the mic up. Yeah, there we go. We started talking the other day and just sharing with him what we're doing at Citizens for Sound Money, and he loved it. He loves what our mission is, and he's been volunteering. He's one of our volunteers that's been helping us sell raffle tickets and telling people to come to the tent. So and he's great.
He's a true believer in sound money, is what he is, and we need a lot more folks like him. But he's not just good at selling raffle tickets; he's also very, very good at playing the guitar.
He is. He is. He was jamming all day yesterday, and he was loving it. So we want him to jam it up a little bit and get some entertainment here, some music going on the live broadcast. So,
might I also add, I am a very big proponent of word of mouth advertising.
Yes, 100%.
If you are a person living in an area that doesn't use gold bags or that sort of thing, I would recommend what you do is buy yourself some gold bags first and circulate them and say, hey, you should take these, and here's why.
So it's not enough just to buy them and tell people you bought them. You have to use them, don't you?
Use them.
Nice
It's not
money.
just a store of value. This is a circulating currency.
Yes,
Absolutely.
100%.
You know, I can't wait until I see goldbacks that are crinkled up because they're
Yes.
so overused.
We got a couple of those that came in already through donations. So.
Cool.
Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, we are very happy to have you here, and we'd absolutely love to hear you play.
All right, cool. All right, so this one, I haven't played it. Well, I'll go ahead and do it. Love Moves My Soul. Da, 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 da. When the sun comes out and it shines on you, and you're feeling good, everything is cool. And that bright warm air makes you feel alright. And you tap your feet till the morning light. Yeah, love, it moves your soul. Yeah, love, it's got you under control, yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wake up at dawn, got to shake off that yawn, get my coffee and start my day. Walking the street, everyone that I meet, they say, man, you always seem great. 'Cause love, it moves my soul. Yeah, love, it's got me under control. Yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come to I am never, 'cause my lady takes care of me. You got a feast for like beauty and beast, and the China's tucked into. 'Cause love, it moves our soul. Yeah, love, it's got us under control, yeah. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh, oh. Cool.
That's awesome, man. You got another one you want to play?
Yeah, you know what? I'll do this one I wrote more recently. It's called In My Head.
All right, sounds good.
In my head, it's ringing out. I am singing. In my head, it's ringing out. Ooh, oh, I gotta make a move. I'm feeling big shoes. I gotta take a step back to move forward. It's such a crazy life. It's filled with so much strife. And every damn find a way to make it my head. It's ringing out. I am singing my head. It's ringing out. I am singing my head. It's ringing out. I am singing my head. It's ringing out. So I can stick in on us now, it's grinding me and you. We gotta make it last. This feeling's fading fast. If it's the last thing that I do, I swear I'll tap to my hand. It's ringing out, I am singing my hand. It's ringing out, I am singing my hand. It's ringing out, I am singing my hand. It's ringing out. Ooh, oh, oh, baby, you hold the key to my infinity. We gotta make this journey, calling it's our destiny. Let's go get famous, man. Hop in the tour bus, man. We gotta jump up on this plane before our jet gets my hand. It's ringing out, I am singing my hand. It's ringing out, I am singing my hand. It's ringing out. I am singing my end, stringing out. Ooh, oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's great, man. We this is all PorcFest, right? Like they got people that are doing parties and raves and people who are jamming out with music. This is what PorcFest is all about, man. People of like-minded I guess ideas coming together to create this kind of or a community that just kind of just gets along, even though we might not agree on every single issue. We come together and we are fighting for liberty. We're sharing ideas, and just hanging out. Once a week, every year, we can do this. And people from around the country, and I'm not sure if around the world, but definitely around the country, are coming here to hang out at PorcFest with like-minded individuals. So thank you for coming out, man. And thanks for volunteering and helping us. I saw how many tickets you sold for the 50/50 raffle. That's phenomenal.
You, man.
All right. Thanks, Asa. All right.
Okay, gang. Liberty and Voodoo Queen were letting us know that the audio was cutting in and out. That was probably because we were doing that with a microphone that's really not made for music, but we did hold one up that was made for music for the second song. So hopefully you guys got that okay. That's our very good friend Asa. And we're hoping he's going to come back and play some more songs for us before the end of the broadcast today.
Indeed. And we're doing really well with the raffle. So I'm actually going to step away, see how much we've raised so far, and let everybody know. So if they want to be a part of it, to be a part of a pretty big pot, they can go ahead and buy some tickets online. So I'll be right back.
Yep, that's something I'd like to talk about real quick while Daniel's away. So let me adjust the cameras here a little bit here because we made an adjustment so you guys could see Asa while he was playing. So let me work on this camera. And what Daniel said is relevant, very relevant, because if you want to participate in the raffles, you can. You can literally do that through Citizens for Sound Money. So you can go ahead and go on the website, make a donation, and put in the comments that you would like to participate in the raffle. When Daniel comes back, we'll talk about that in more detail. If you want to be a part of the raffle, even though you're not physically here at PorcFest. So we'll give you specific instructions on that. Again, a big thanks to our friend Asa. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. So here's the, let me turn that microphone down a little bit right now. Okay. And that way we don't get the feedback. Here's what the tickets look like. It's a 50/50 raffle. And so at any rate, the way it works is 50% of the pot goes to Citizens for Sound Money for legislative efforts in 2025. And then the other 50% goes to the lucky winner who gets pulled from the hat in the end of the evening. We always do that at Bonfire. That's right here, right next to the pavilion. It's right next to our tent as well. That bonfire starts after the sun goes down every night during PorcFest. So Silver Dave. Okay. Hey, we have Silver Dave with us, and Silver Dave, believe it or not, runs a mint right here in New Hampshire. So hopefully he'll be able to show us some of his products he makes. We'll make sure that he feels welcome here. And let's see, we'll make sure that he gets a headset on because we are getting a little bit of feedback. Dave, good to meet you, buddy. I'm going to ask you to put those headphones on if possible. Because we are getting a little bit of feedback from the mics if they're not in use. There we go. Okay, so this is Silver Dave. And Silver Dave, my understanding is I met one of your employees last night when we were going around selling raffle tickets. And then he told me something I didn't know. He told me, number one, Silver Dave. Number two, mint. Number three, silver. He got my interest pretty damn quick. Yeah, so we definitely need to know a little bit more about Silver Dave and Silver Dave's minting of silver coins right here in New Hampshire.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate that. It's exciting to be on with you. Basically, in a nutshell, I was a Green Beret in the Army Special Forces until 2011. And when I was traveling around the world, I noticed that there was something really wrong with the monetary system. And the more I learned about it, the more I found out that the paper money was actually a scam and that the government wasn't serving the people. The wars weren't for freedom and liberty.
Nope.
And the more I dug into it, the worse it got. And so I decided that I wasn't going to sign on another contract for the military. I was going to finish the time I had, and I wanted to get into the silver business.
Okay.
And so I actually moved to New Hampshire because of the Free State Project. And I came to New Hampshire and I started the first silver company, which at the time was called Sons of Liberty Mint. Basically, Sons of Liberty Mint was really focused on 1/10 ounce silver for barters and trades. And that still is my focus. And we made and sold over 1 million pieces of silver with that first company. But we didn't know enough about the industry. I didn't know enough about business, about silver minting, about all the different aspects involved in that. And so I sort of learned the hard way with the first company. Well, in 2016, we sold the company to a much bigger refinery, a silver refinery in Philadelphia. And then I ended up founding another company called Local Silver Mint. And now Local Silver Mint manufactures an array of unique silver products, including our Stealth Silver series, which are silver hammers, silver wrenches, and silver chisels, which hide in your toolbox to resist government confiscation or theft. And they actually reflect the colors of your other tools, so you kind of can't even tell that they're silver when they're in there. We also make a 10-ounce bar. We make silver bar bells, protect your health and your wealth. And then, of course, and then a few other inventions, a silver snuffer, which puts out your cigarette, and then also these full-size silver swords, which you'll see walking around here over the next few days, probably. And then last but not least, the most important thing that we make, the main reason that I'm here, is 1/10 ounce silver for barters and trades. A lot of people are really fixated on buying silver, and they're not thinking enough, in my opinion, about what are they going to do with their silver later. And if their plan is they're going to sell it back for dollars during the dollar meltdown, well, that seems like a horrible plan, because then you end up back with dollars again right before they evaporate into thin air. Instead, what I think people need is little pieces of silver for barters and trades so they can buy essential supplies like a basket of vegetables or a dozen eggs from their neighbor down the street, and that they don't have to overpay. Because if you have 10-ounce bars of silver and your neighbor down the street is like, well, I have 11 eggs I'm willing to sell you because things are really tough. Well, 10-ounce bar, if that's the smallest piece of silver you got, that's what you're going to pay for it. Yeah. So that's in a nutshell. And then just a tiny little bit more, and I'll pause here, is just that we have a store in Ware, New Hampshire called Local Silver Mint, and we are the best silver selling outfit in all of New England. People come from Maine, Massachusetts, Vermont, all around to come shop us in tax-free New Hampshire. We have an incredible variety of silver products, not just what we make, but also silver eagles and gold buffaloes, etc. And so that, in a nutshell, is my little bio for you.
Okay, well, let me ask you this real quick. Silver hammers, silver wrenches, silver, dumbbells. Do you make anything with silver linings? Because I'm always looking for stuff with silver linings.
I guess that's like a joke. Or
it is. I was supposed to. My sense of humor is very dry. Sorry about that. You have to drink water with it.
Well, silver lining. Yeah, I mean, that's funny. We try to make everything we're making is made of silver, either solid, pure silver, or sterling silver, like our swords are sterling silver. We have a 1/3 size, a 1/2 size, and then a full-size sterling silver sword, which we only made a few of the full-size ones. They're a lot of money, but they're really cool. And actually, tonight at 5 p.m. on YouTube, if you feel free to check out Local Silver Mint on YouTube, you will see the unveiling of our full-size silver swords, as well as a funny video and a funny cutaway of Silver Stackers Anonymous meeting. That's at 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yes, Eastern time on YouTube, and the channel is called Local Silver Mint. Please feel free to like and subscribe. We have lots of great videos about silver, fun, entertaining, informative. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I saw your one. You have a sample of the 1/10 ounce rounds here.
You know, it's funny you should ask, because I do. And not only do I have the 1/10 ounce silver rounds, but I have a gift for you. First, I want to give you a PorcFest pure silver commemorative.
Wow.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you'll notice it has the PorcFest logo on it, the PorcFest 21. So that's just a free gift for you.
That's awesome.
Trying to focus here.
1/10 of an ounce.
1/10 of an ounce. It's a bar of silver, and it has PorcFest on it. It's actually commemorative of PorcFest. I can't see it very well, but does it say 2024?
No, I think it's 21.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, gotcha. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Let me ask you some more questions here because I'm fascinated.
He actually has the rounds here.
Oh, you have the rounds?
But I don't want to cut off your question, but I do also have our 1/10 ounce silver round for barters and trades as well. So here, maybe I'll just do you want me to wait for your question, or should I just
let's take a look at the coins because it's a direct relation to this.
Okay.
It's like a Skittle.
Yeah, they literally sound like M&Ms when the guys are packing.
You can't stop with just one with these, gang. It's like Pringles.
The rest you can keep those. Those are gift for you.
Wow, thank you.
So
let me see if I can get the
price of one of these right now at spot is around $3.
That's correct.
And what is it with premium? What do you sell these for?
We sell them by the tube of 35, and the tube of 35 costs around $139. So if you do the math each, it comes out to around $38.50, $3.85 per round.
Not bad.
Or per ounce. If you calculate that way, it's $38.50 per ounce.
Okay. Not bad.
So a similar price to a silver eagle.
Yeah.
Now, you know, just a side note here is that if you buy, say, silver buffalo rounds, you'll buy silver buffalo rounds, you'll pay around $32.50 for them. Now, the 1/10 ounce is more expensive, but it's 10 times as many pieces.
Yes.
And that my argument is that, you may spend about 20% more to buy 1/10 ounce than, say, generic buffaloes. But my argument is that when you go to spend them, you'll save 90% each time. And so I think that you actually save money when you spend these. But that's where a lot of people are looking at their silver and they're really fixated on the spot price and not about how are you going to use your silver later. And that people are concerned that they'll buy it for 40 cents less per ounce or whatever, but the spot price will change 40 cents every day back and forth.
Yep.
You know, but really in the big picture, you know, if you had 100 ounces of silver, either 10 ounce bars or 1,000 1/10 ounce rounds, what would serve you better in a post-economic situation? What would be better? What you know, one giant cannon shell, just one bullet giant, or 1,000 handguns? And I'd rather 1,000 handguns. I can raise an army and we can get any type of weapons that we need. But if you just have one giant 1,000-ounce artillery shell, you're going to miss. And then they're going to come and kill you. I don't know if I can say that on here, but
well, of course you can. This is amazing, actually. This is really, really cool stuff, gang. Unfortunately, I'm having a hard time with the lighting, actually getting a good focus on this, but it's got an imprint on it. It's stamped with 3/9 silver. It shows that it's 1/10 of an ounce. And let's see, it says
local silver mint.
Local silver mint, and it has like a Christmas tree ornament on it. Is that right?
Actually a pine tree.
Pine tree.
And it stands for the Pine Tree Rebellion against King George III, who was a real jerk. In Ware, New Hampshire, which is the home of local silver mint. So that pine tree stands for rebellion.
Okay, cool.
And fun fact.
And I just did I cut you off?
Yeah, no, it's fun fact. The New Hampshire Constitution is the only state that actually gives the people the right to revolt against the government.
But the idea of the government giving the people the right to revolt against it is kind of funny anyway.
Yeah, it is quite funny.
We give you the right to, to
take us down. Sure. You guys have the right to do that. Let me ask you some technical questions now, because I am all about silver. First of all, this tube right here is $130 of filthy fiat. Is that correct?
139.
139. Yes. Okay, gotcha.
At the moment.
Okay, and you actually mint these yourselves.
That's correct. Myself, as well as I have a crew,
Well,
and they're
crew, yep.
making every day. We have full-time production. We have incredible guys. The guys that are working in the mitt are literally geniuses. I'm constantly amazed by how much they solve problems. They figure out the answers. And every time I come up with one of these wacky product ideas, whether it's the swords or the snuffers or the hammers, and I tell them, I'm like, here's what I want to make. And I'm like, okay, we got to figure out how to make this. And they figure out how to make it. And then they make, 100, 1,000, or 100,000 of them. These, we've actually made and sold over 1 million of these through silver.com, JM Bullion, Money Metals, BGASC, Provident Metals, and JM Bullion and others. They sell at 110.
So these are your coins that you make with your mint. Now, what if a private citizen, can a private citizen come and contract you and say, hey, I've got a design, I need coins made for my organization?
Yeah.
Do you work with people who want to do that?
Yes. So first off, yes, absolutely, we do that. And we have already done that for a few different companies that bought it as a marketing tax deductible expense.
There you go.
And they put their name on the round that they're going to give it away to people as like a marketing, and they would accept it as payment. There's a store in Keene that bought these. They have their name on it. In fact, I'm sure I can plug them. Good Fortune Jewelry and Pawn in Keene. They have their own 1/10 ounce rounds. They're beautiful. I actually think I like their design is more beautiful than ours. But our design was meant to be simplistic. Theirs is very beautiful, and they accept silver there, and they can sell you silver. So that's really awesome. And we want to see people accepting these all the way. We want to see people, taking these and trade all around.
Absolutely.
And your press, how many tons is it to do this?
Well, we have several different presses, and we have a 40 ton, a 20 ton, a 10 ton, and a 5 ton.
And what do you use for these?
So for these, we actually use the 20 ton, but it punches out 2 at a time. And the 2 blanks, it punches out 2 blanks at full cyclic rate. So we load a strip in, and it literally does 120 strokes per minute. And each stroke, 2 rounds fall out of the bottom. But there's more, and that's just punching out the blanks. Then the blanks have to go through a stamping press that puts the image onto them.
Gotcha. And how many tons is that?
The stamping press that we're using for these is 10 tons.
Okay, excellent.
Yep. So, but one more, just a couple more notes I want to mention, and that is that when you look at our 1/10 ounce round, you'll notice that it's stamped just on one side. And part of the idea with that is that we wanted to keep the production cost down. And our goal was not necessarily to make the most extravagant silver that you've ever seen, that has the most beautiful George Washington picture you've ever seen, and it's going to cost $500 for the 1/10 ounce. We didn't want that. We wanted it to be as simple and effective as possible, knowing that 1/10 ounce silver typically costs 10 times as much to make as 1 ounce silver, because it's 10 times as many things. So what we did is we kept it very simple, and we just stamped them on one side. We leave them thicker and slightly less wide than a dime, so that there's less rolling, so that the stamping is simpler, so that the dies are simpler, and the production costs less. So that's basically in a nutshell, but we can definitely make anyone's designing them. We've done it, and we're looking for more people that want to do it.
Gotcha. Do you do double strikes and proofs as well?
You mean do both sides?
Well, both sides, and then proofs as in a 3-dimensional image, kind of like quality on the face of the coin.
No, at the moment we are not doing that.
Okay.
And I'm kind of really fixated on keeping it simple, and that if we did a double-sided coin or a proof, that's something that it's possible for us technologically, but you expect to pay a lot of money for it.
But there's an expectation that it's a collectible at that point. It's not going to go into circulation. It's such a beautiful coin, and you're more into the
functional side,
the functional or utility of making silver
coins. If somebody
coins.
wanted to make a collectible and it was more expensive, you could do that.
Yes, we could. We could do anything if you can pay for it.
Okay, gotcha.
So, but just like you said, that I'm much more fixated on the utility of divisible silver for barters and trades. I think that is so important, and that, at our store in Ware, New Hampshire, local silver mint, we sell all the popular things like silver eagle coins and gold buffaloes and, Canadian maples. And we have a huge variety. In fact, we have the best variety at our store. Our prices are in direct competition with the online dealers. So we're actually just a smidge lower on almost all the top tier dealers. And if you find a lower price online for our product in the store, we'd match it. But we do all that, and that stuff's a great hedge for your dollar inflation. But my fixation ever since I got out of the special forces has been giving people a way that they can do barters and trades regardless of the condition of the financial system or internet access.
Can I get your website real quick? And by the way, this isn't kicking you off. I'm just updating our notes here.
Yeah, it's localsilvermint.com.
Oh, and we have an audience too. Look at that. I noticed that we have a few people out here.
Okay, guys, if you look in the description section of this video, you'll see Silver Dave's website. So it's right there in the description section of this video. Not only can you purchase coins from Silver Dave, you can have your coins made by Silver Dave. So this is a man you want to know. Silver Dave. I mean, like I said, we call ourselves PorcFest virgins because we have never been here before this event this year. We had no idea about you. At least I didn't. Did you hear about him before last night?
Liberty Forum.
Liberty Forum.
Liberty Forum. We talked about the 1/5 ounce rounds that
okay, gotcha.
Produce and what he's doing, and it was great. No, I met what was the gentleman's name that called you last night?
That's Mike.
Mike.
Yeah.
Mike and I recognize each other from Liberty Forum.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Now, I actually had not seen your 1/5 ounce rounds until 3 days ago.
Oh,
when a guy, I actually wasn't at Liberty Forum, maybe the year before when we talked.
Okay.
Because I wasn't at Liberty Forum this most recent time, but people were telling me about the Citizens for Sound Money 1/5 ounce rounds. And I was like, well, I need to see these. Like, does he even have it? And I hadn't even seen one. And then 3 days ago, a guy walked into the showroom and he bought some silver. And he said, by the way, I have a gift for you. And he said, here, this is these Citizens for Sound Money rounds. There were 5 of them in a little slide out metal tray thing.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me. And I was like, oh, man, these are awesome.
Was it Daniel Tinkham by any chance that brought that to you?
It was. That's even weird that you knew who I was.
Wizard board.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, he gets around. The only person I know that would probably do that was Daniel.
He is a great guy, and we met a few weeks ago. Maybe it was a month ago. We met because and I don't know if I guess it probably is fine for me to talk about this because he's gonna let the big giant cat out of the bag on Friday anyway.
Okay.
But basically, we met about a month ago because he saw our sterling silver swords. And he came in and he said he wanted one, but he wanted one that was full size. Like he wanted a shield.
That's what he's bringing on Friday.
And so, so basically he came in to pick up the sword after we made it for him. We filmed an awesome, ridiculous video that comes out at 5 p.m. tonight. Like
that's
we talked
awesome.
about.
That's awesome.
But he's going to be here on Friday and he's going to walk around for a bunch of time with the sword. When you see this sword, I think you'll lose your mind. Every time I look at these things, these giant swords, I'm like, literally, it's like a cartoon in real life.
Man.
Like I can't even imagine what I'm seeing. So anyway, he'll be walking around with that sword, and you'll probably want to check it out because it is
absolutely. I'm positive it's going to be here at the booth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hope so. Here, and he is the guy that gave me those rounds, but I felt really fulfilled that I had a chance to finally see them because I had heard about Jim.
Yeah.
And it was really tragic, and I was shocked because the last time I spoke to him, I had no idea to expect that there was any issues.
Yeah.
And
it was a freak accident. We were all in Florida celebrating some victories that we had this past legislative session, and he decided to stay an extra day in Sanibel Island, and he was playing with his high performance kite. A gust of wind picked him up, and he had his accident. So it was literally a freak accident.
Picked him up. You mean like it was an impact to his body?
He didn't let go of his kite. So he had his high performance kite. There was a gust of wind. It picked him up about 4 or 5 feet, and then it nosedived and it slammed him in the wet sand, and he's injured himself and severed his artery, and it caused a what's it called?
The vein in his neck,
Not aneurysm.
Blood
stroke.
Stroke. Caused a stroke 3 hours later.
Wow.
So it was literally a freak accident. We literally had the best day of our lives on Saturday, and this happened on Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is horrible.
But you know what? He left a legacy behind of liberty and freedom and wanting to bring sound money to the entire world. And we picked up that torch and we're continuing to run with it to make sure that we free people from the enslavement of the fiat economic system. So,
and thank you very much for that. I truly appreciate that you are concerned about that and that you're focused on that too. It's the most important thing on the planet.
And it's the only reason we're here. I mean, we're here to continue pushing this legacy and continue pushing legislation to make gold and silver legal tender and see if we can create a parallel economy that's sound money against the Federal Reserve.
See, this is a great example. If I can butt in real quick here. When I speak and when Daniel speak, oftentimes people will say, well, gosh darn it, how are we going to actually use gold and silver as money? It's not as fungible as cash is, with coins. Gosh darn it. Silver Dave has one of the free market solutions right here, gang. We're talking about 1/10 ounce silver. The gold backs are another solution, fungibility. So this is literally what Silver Dave is doing. He's providing one of the free market options, just like many others, like, with Alpine Gold. This is literally easy. The free market has got this. We don't need government to come in and regulate silver and gold. People are creating products that we can use to transact with.
We, the people, is the most important part. We are choosing what is money. We are choosing what we want to use for a medium of exchange, unit account, and a store of value, not the government.
That's
not
right.
With their currencies, and they're trying to hijack the entire economic system, and they did that right with gold backed and silver backed paper money. But we're going back to real money and using it in bartering and goods and services so that they can't just print paper money and back with gold anymore, because we have gold backs. We have 1/10 ounce and 1/5 ounce rounds of silver that we can use in daily transactions.
That's
so
right.
We're trying to take back our economic freedom by actually using money versus a representation of real money.
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah. Well, seriously, thank you, because you're actually you're going to be one of the poster children examples of how the free market has got this. We don't need government regulating gold and silver.
Well, just kind of in addition to all this is that the reason why we are in the situation we are in is because people accepted using tickets printed by literal professional liar, mass murderer, and more.
Sure.
These guys are literally like...
Don't mince words, Dave. Tell us what you really think.
And thieves. And as long as people use what I call them slave tickets, excuse me, and that, I don't want people to be offended, but to me, it's a system of human enslavement. That's what the Federal Reserve System is. And the further that people go from
100%.
trading actual things of actual value, the more enslaved they will become. And a perfect example is if we look at when the silver and gold was in the money before 1933, that there was a lot more freedom. But then with the Emergency Banking Act in 1933, they took the gold from people. Also with the Federal Reserve Act that eventually took the silver out of the money, they created the Internal Revenue Service, and they created the income tax. There were roads that were great roads before there was income tax. And so the further that we go from using, like you described, sound money, actual tangible things of value, the more slave-like this society become, and the more Patriot Acts there'll be, and the more regulation on everything you do. And the newest, worst thing is coming. And what I'm talking about, you knew. What's the most dangerous thing to freedom and liberty on the planet right now? And if you guessed that it was Godzilla, you were not correct. I'm sorry. I don't think the threat of Godzilla is that good. It's the central bank digital currency.
Yep.
It's so dangerous because it will allow them to decide on a case by case basis whether you are allowed to buy things, who you are allowed to buy them from, what you are allowed to buy, how much of it you're allowed to buy, and different types of programmable parameters that they can put into it, including that maybe you didn't want to take an experimental medical procedure. Well, now they're shutting off your money. And maybe you have a date that night. You have like some girl you're going to go out to dinner with, and like your money just got shut off. And they're like, oh, sorry, you're no money until you go and you get your thing or take your magic pill or do whatever they tell you. And that, you know, who knows what it could be, but that once that they can just turn off your ability to buy or sell based on whatever they can decide, that's the most dangerous thing I can think of.
Global warming, social credits. If you drive too much, you use too much carbon, they shut you off from buying gasoline. They shut you off from flying because you've used too many credits. You flew too much already.
Yep.
And there's so many different ways that they can program the currency and show themselves. Do you know Aaron Day by any chance?
I do.
Yeah, Aaron Day. He is all about spreading the word on the dangers and the enslavement of humanity through CBDC. So,
yep.
I mean, he is. If you guys don't know Aaron Day, we had him on the first day of our broadcast.
Did, yes.
You can learn more about him. Aaron Day. He wrote the book, The Final Countdown. That gives you a researched and sourced book on the dangers of CBDCs and the fact that it is coming, ladies and gentlemen. So it's already gonna be coming in Europe. It's gonna come in Canada, and
well,
then
actually, what I've heard, to your point, Australia and Canada, and I heard this report 3 months ago, that they were 18 months away from switching to a central bank digital currency. Now, it's the Western nations that are doing this. Eastern nations are hoarding gold and silver. Western nations are moving to a digital tyranny. And by the way, I do want to say that Godzilla does represent a threat. I've seen no less than 50 Japanese documentaries with bad lip syncing, seeing Godzilla completely destroy Tokyo. Yes. So there is a threat there.
And actually, I have heard that Godzilla is what actually took World Trade Center 7 down.
Oh, it could be. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a plane.
More believable than the official story.
True that. So yeah, man. I'm glad you were here. I'm glad that we ran into keep forgetting his name. Your
Silver Dave.
No, not Silver Dave. Your buddy from
Mike.
Glad we ran into Mike. They can call you to ask you to come on. I think this is great. And I love the gifts that you gave us, the commemorative bar.
Yes, thank you very much, Dave.
The 1 10th-ounce rounds. This is amazing. In fact, I'd like to talk to you after the broadcast, see if we can maybe get this on our website as well, so that we can raise funds for Citizens for Sound Money.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I appreciate you having me on, by the way, too.
Yeah,
and I'm happy to talk about however we can collaborate, do some things. I feel like we have similar goals, and it's so important. Obviously, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And what branch of the military did you serve in?
I was at 18 Charlie, which is a special forces engineer.
Okay.
Green Beret.
Nice. Well, Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
Well, I wish that I could accept that better. The problem is that I wish I was serving the American people and defending freedom and liberty. Unfortunately, what I learned was that
you're serving corporate paymasters, and
we were serving the global power elite and small special interests and
big banks.
Yeah, the big banks. But then also, in my case, Afghanistan. You know, like I keep going around and saying this to people because it seems like like I can tell it to a policeman. And he says, I know, but there's nothing I can do about it. So literally, Afghanistan has been a giant heroin farm ever since America invaded it in 2001.
That's right.
And in 2000, Afghanistan wasn't even on the radar for heroin production. But in 2001, after America and 70 other countries invaded them, they became the world's #1 producer of heroin. And I don't believe that there should be laws for or against any substance or plant for that matter. But if the government is going to outlaw it, but then they're going to be the top in the business of it. And they're going to go over and murder people in Afghanistan who want to grow wheat to ensure that they don't grow wheat, but that they grow poppy fields and then use us to do it to them. That's like a huge problem for me. And so that all goes back to like the paper money. These guys couldn't do these horrible things around the world if people traded silver and gold and commodities and
They couldn't pay for the military industrial complex. They couldn't pay for the soldiers in the military bases if we had sound money.
Exactly.
You fix the money, you fix the world.
Yes. And yes, thank you. You fix the money, you fix the world. I want to quote you with that.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
The other thing that I was just going to link to that was that the global power elite have this fake monetary system that's printed paper and digitally created dollars.
And they get it first.
And they get it first. And then the other thing is that if people were trading silver and gold, well, and you try to figure out how to word this concise and short, is that right now the government is spending massive amounts of money, literally sending
Currency.
billions of dollars to each of a litany of different countries. And the main reason they're doing it is for the kickbacks. And so they're literally wasting as much money as they can to get kickbacks. And that would not work if it was silver and gold. No one would be wasting their silver and gold just to get kickbacks. But when it's printed tickets and it's other people's money in the form of taxes stolen by the end of a gun from other people, they can waste as much of it as they want to get kickbacks. And I personally saw that in Afghanistan, and that was why I got alerted to this whole thing and deep dived into the money.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's called the Kenelon effect because it's the government and the large institutions, Raytheon, Boeing, all these military industrial complex companies that are providing the weaponry and getting the first tranche of brand new currency. And if you know anything about the Kenelon effect, those who are the closest to the printing of this new currency get the full purchasing power. And as they spend it, it trickles down to the economy and inflates the currency and robs us of our purchasing power because there's more in circulation. So the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the elimination of the middle class is happening just as Stalin and Lenin wanted to do.
Go figure.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Freedom Nettle on Twitter, also known as Maya, who used to be a freedom fighter in Missouri, but has recently moved to Florida to freedom fight. You know exactly who Maya and Doug are. You met them in Missouri.
Yes.
And she said she absolutely loved to hear about the manufacturing process, and she wanted to say thank you. And so at any rate, thank you for watching, Maya. And I think, first of all, let's actually give a little bit a shout. Actually, when I refreshed the screen, it was Corey, I think, that was actually saying something here. But Freedom Nettle is also shouting out on Twitter. But Silver Dave resides right here in New Hampshire and actually manufactures silver. And in fact, we'll make a snippet of the video with you and have a standalone video. It seems to be a lot of interest in this.
By the way, for people and the lady who messaged, if people want to see our manufacturing process, and they want to see us melting silver and doing different things, if you go to Local Silver Mint on YouTube, once again, that's Local Silver Mint on YouTube, we have lots of videos that are either informative, that talk about the markets and the data points, or other videos that are just fun and entertaining. And then we have other videos that show you an inside look at our manufacturing process. You can see us making the silver hammers, making the silver barbells, making the 1/10 ounce silver, and you can see it. So please feel free to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go ahead and link that down below in the description section as well, gang.
And I wish Jim was still here because I think you and Jim would have had an amazing conversation comparing notes because he had his own silver mint in his backyard. He had a I think it was a 15 or 20 ton press and a few other things. So did you guys talk about the manufacturing process?
No, but that's the thing that I was so curious about was, did he make those 1/5 ounce rounds?
No, he's done his own 1 ounce rounds. He's done a lot of bars. He's actually done slices of
I've seen the slices.
But we manufacture those coins to the Kinesis Mint in Turkey. So we they already have it, or whenever we want to order more, they just punch them out and they ship them over.
Wow, interesting. I mean, they were really nice. They were well done.
Yeah. Actually, before you go, I'll show you what they minted. The commemorative 1 ounce coin for Jim. So Kinesis did 100 1 ounce rounds
with
Jim's face on it. On the back it says "Man of Peace, Peace and Kindness" because his last name meant Man of Peace. I'll show it to you. I mean, it's a phenomenal piece of art on silver. And they're also doing an Aurum as well through Valorum.
to honor Jim Forsyth.
Oh, I
That's
see.
one of the founding fathers of the sound money movement.
And is that the same company that does goldbacks?
Same company that makes goldbacks, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Kinesis is coming out with their own orms as well.
Kinesis, that's the Turkish company. They're going to make that version of it.
They're Australian, but they have a mint in Turkey, and Valorum makes them here in the U.S.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Wow. Very interesting stuff.
Yep.
It's getting pretty serious in terms of precious metals.
Yeah,
It is.
It's spreading. The time to overthrow the central banks around the world is now. It is definitely now because the governments around the world are like India. I think just accepted 100 tons of gold.
Silver, I
Or
think.
was it silver?
Yeah, I think it was silver this
Okay.
time. Now they take a lot of gold too. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong,
but they
but
got-
when it's that much silver,
Yeah.
that makes the news.
So central banks are starting to redeem, and pull gold and silver out. So
Yep, that's right. And it's a common theme in Turkey, India, Russia, China, Pakistan, the Eastern nations.
every country except for the United States. of
No,
America.
no, the West, Australia. You don't hear about them, pulling in gold and silver to their central bank. Canada, no, they're going to a central bank digital currency.
Yeah.
They've got this solved, Daniel. They have solved the world's problems with a digital tyranny.
Yes, indeed. But then you have Zimbabwe that launched the first gold-backed
That's true.
CBDC.
Yep.
So Zimbabwe, which is interesting, they're the first country in the world to launch a gold currency and a gold-backed digital currency that's a CBDC, and they're already having a deflationary event in their economy. The head of their central bank is worried about deflation because their currency is strengthening too much against all the other fiat currencies. And that's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
Wow. I just thought about what you said a little while ago about how this is like the right time to disrupt the system and the changeover. The reason that kind of rung my bell a little is it reminds me again of back in the special forces. We had to go to a SEER school, and it was all about learning escape, survive, evade, resist, escape, and they basically like beat the shit out of you and interrogate you. And you had to learn how to not say the certain things you weren't, you wanted to keep, and also learn how to escape. And one of the things was, it was obviously more than getting the crap beaten out of you, was more to the learning points of that. But one of the learning points in there was that your best chance of escape is during initial capture and transport. If you wait till you're moved to a hardened facility, your chances of escape are greatly diminished. Now, that chance of escape during the transition to a different facility, that's your best chance for escape, but it's also the most dangerous because that's when they'll just shoot you in the head if you do something crazy. And that my metaphor for our current system,
We're transitioning.
they're transitioning. They're
And
trying
this
to
is
go.
the best time.
It's the best time because right now they don't have everything figured out. Not everything's locked in. And so this is a chance where it's possible something could go askew for these guys. And I really hope so. I hope something goes unexpectedly wrong for them and that they just get smashed by all the people on the planet Earth that take this back from them and put them down where they belong.
And there was a transition with Bitcoin, but they have done a pretty damn good job of shutting down the digital currencies, man. They're arresting people left and right, and they're scaring people. But you know what they can't do? They can't stop gold and silver. Everybody has gold and silver. They can't stop it from happening, So there is a transition. They are shooting people by throwing you in prison if you're using Bitcoin or any other privacy coin or privacy chain to hide your transactions, your ownership. And they're not going to like what we're doing across the country or the world with gold and silver. But you know what? This is the time to do it because there is that transition to the CBDCs.
Yeah, and I'm going to bring up something too. It's Fluffy Pony, Monero. Okay.
Yes.
I do believe he's rotting in a prison. They have never been able to crack the code, even though you could go back about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And the U.S. government put out a press release that they had cracked Monero, the cryptocurrency Monero. Turned out it was totally false. The government lied, guys.
That's a novel.
Yeah.
Lied to us?
They fibbed.
Wait a second. It would have been more surprised if you said the government told the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but Fluffy Pony, of course, still rots in a prison because he won't give it up.
Who's Fluffy Pony?
That's a screen name for a guy who invented Monero, the cryptocurrency Monero. And I don't know what his real name is. That's what he went by, is Fluffy Pony. He's a big guy too.
Oh, that's fluffy.
Yeah. So, but at any rate, he is still in prison, I think.
And what is his charges?
Because he created a currency that was non-taxable because it was non-traceable.
Why is the founder and the developer of Tornado Cash, which is a decentralized smart contract that he doesn't control, why is he sitting and rotting in prison? And why is anybody?
Because the Federal Reserve doesn't like competition.
They don't, and they want to know what we're doing with our money because they want to control us.
That's right. Well, and I really appreciate the silver and gold aspect of things. And, you know, you were talking in your speech earlier about the digitization of gold and silver for physical held in a vault, 1-to-1 ratio, no fractional reserve bull crap going on, a straight 1-to-1 ratio with companies like UPMA, Kinesis, Glint,
Load,
and so those digital transactions that we rely on for the internet, it's not like I'm going to be sending goldbacks to Amazon, right? They want their money right now, and I want my product right now.
Yes.
So, basically these solutions are being figured out by the free market. They're developing right before our eyes right now, and Silver Dave is one of them.
Yep. And I'd rather have a third-party, independently audited vaulting system held by a private company that they have an incentive not to screw people over because, one, they don't want to go to prison for stealing money, versus the government who steals their money all the time and doesn't care.
And legalizes them being able to do it.
Exactly. And because if anybody else did fractional reserve banking, we go to prison for fraud and theft. But no, you can definitely do it legally within the banking system, which is controlled by the government, essentially.
That's right. Well, Dave, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. It's a real honor to have you here. Thank you so much for the coins here as well. And we'll keep them here so that way for the rest of PorcFest, we can show them off to everybody. But look in the description section on the YouTube side of this video, and you can find Silver Dave very easily. And remember, at 5 o'clock Eastern time, is that tomorrow night? Tonight. The unveiling of the full-size silver sword. Is that correct?
That's correct. Local Silver Mint YouTube channel. Please feel free to check it out, 5 p.m. Like and subscribe. Please share it. Help us out. We have been gaining more and more subscribers. This past week and a half, we've doubled the number of subscribers we've had. We had a couple major hit videos. But thank you guys so much for having me on. This has been wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. You guys are doing a great job, and I'm immensely thankful. And in closing, I just want to mention one more thing is that we're going to be giving out these little price sheets, and I want to give you guys a couple of them. I'm going to bring a stack of them down.
Absolutely.
I'm going to bring you some tubes of our 1/10 ounce silver rounds if you're going to show them to people.
Sure.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
So, but yeah, this has been in my back pocket, but I have like a ton of these. So I'm going to bring like maybe 100 of these down, but basically from 4 to 6 p.m. Friday and Saturday at site PM 15, I'll be selling silver. I have silver buffalo rounds for $1 and change over spot. I have 1/10 ounce silver rounds that we make, 1/10 ounce silver bars. I have silver snuffers that put out your smoke and save you money. I have sterling silver swords, and that's from 4 to 6 p.m. Friday and Saturday at PorcFest at site PM 15. If you come to the Citizens for Sound Money tent, you can come and get a price sheet. I'll leave you guys with a whole bunch of these.
Absolutely.
And I'll bring you some more samples and some stuff for you to show people.
That'd be great. And we'd be happy to. Hey, but I got a question for you. So the silver sword is to kill the werewolf up close. What if we want to get him from a distance? You have any silver bullets over there?
Okay, well, so the answer to that question is I've been very interested in the actual silver bullet, not the one that's like a model of one that doesn't shoot. I like the bullet that actually shoots. And we did, as a test, we went ahead and we made several pure silver 9mm projectiles, and we successfully made them. However, before I was in it, it's been like kind of a conundrum whether we want to spend money and invest in being able to mass produce them inexpensively and risk the liability factor of it. But there's been back and forth. Some part of me wants to sell these just as the projectile, and reloaders could load it themselves. You keep it in the bottom of your magazine. It's like your last bullet or two. You can either use it on the guy or use it on the guy. Like if you need to buy something from him, you can trade it to him.
Mhm.
If he says no, you could shoot him with it. Or that's a joke, everybody. I'm not. Or if he's a werewolf. But I like the actual silver bullet that shoots. But I don't know if that project is going to push forward because we just don't know whether the liability.
How about
of
a copper bullet that's silver clad? Had you guys thought about that?
Well, that's, I think, even more liability and less
Okay.
exciting to me.
Yep.
The
Okay. I
silver's
understand.
a lot more malleable and a lot softer. And there is some actual data out there that suggests that the pure silver bullet is actually the most powerful bullet because it does not spall when it smashes into something hard. Instead, it just changes shape and penetrates. And so it's unknown for sure, but there is some data out there that says that the solid silver bullet is more powerful than the lead or lead copper jacketed projectile. And that might be part of where the old stories of like werewolves and whatever that you need a silver bullet. It might come from the fact that the silver bullet will actually penetrate deeper into armor and go through things, whereas other metals just explode into powder. The silver is so soft and malleable, it just turns into a jet and punches through.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So we'll see what happens with it. But
it just
I
so
hope that
happens
answers
I
your
know
question.
a few people that might be into guns as well back home in Missouri. And so
Yeah.
let us, we'll keep tabs on you on that.
There we go. Let's talk about it again. Let me know your thoughts are on it later. And once again, thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Silver Dave.
Thank
you
you,
guys.
Silver Dave.
And remember, stack it up.
Yeah, stack it up, everybody.
Everyone, this is Silver Dave. His information is listed down below in the description section. Check out tomorrow night at 5 p.m. the unveiling of a full-size silver sword, completely made of silver. So that's pretty exciting. So let's reposition
And I'm
ourselves. real
sure
quick.
we'll have Daniel Tinkham coming to the tent. We can show everybody his full-size sword.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, in fact, we would love to have it on our show as well. So if there's any way that silver sword could be shown on Citizens for Sound Money on our broadcast, we would certainly appreciate it.
I'd be for people to see it on your channel. It's just a matter of whether Dan, but I think he come here to walk around with it, so he must want people to see it.
Okay, good deal. Well, we'll be looking out for him for sure. Thank you again, Silver Dave. You're one in a million, dudes. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And thank you, everyone, for watching and for tuning in today. Silver Dave is our second guest. We'll probably have another one coming in sometime soon, having to do with finance and the economy. And I'm going to go ahead. I haven't taken a look at YouTube lately for basically, gosh darn, where's the mouse? We have 3 screens here, gang. I'm sure you guys knew that, when we get the view out from far away right here. Boom. So, we got a laptop screen and then 2 full-size screens. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Liberty Revolutionary says, should I oil my reloading press? Well, we're not quite there. Silver jacketed projectiles. That's right. So that was actually kind of interesting to me too, Liberty. And he even said my 9mm, which is, my favorite caliber.
And Mining Stocks on Twitter says, hello, Mining Stocks.
Hey, Mining Stocks. Good to see you here, buddy.
Welcome to the broadcast.
All right. So I found that fascinating. I mean, and once again, this is kind of like the silver solution, like Goldbacks has a solution, because silverbacks, can you tell us a little bit about silverbacks? Because my understanding is they're having a problem with the manufacturing process.
It's not that it's a problem. It's just too expensive.
That's too expensive?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to get 1/1000th of an ounce of silver, that'll make it a few cents. It just isn't practical. So I'm not exactly sure. I know that I know Goldbacks own silverbacks, and they haven't really mass produced them just because of the cost of it. I mean, most of the cost is in premium versus the value of the gold and silver.
And hey guys, I know you couldn't see this, but we had quite a crowd here to hear Silver Dave. So he's somewhat of a celebrity here locally. So it's not too often we actually get people watching the show physically in the audience here.
He had what, 4 or 5 people here?
Yep, he sure did. So, and about the same that Luke had when Luke Radowski was here.
Yeah, yeah. Luke had a decent crowd too.
So a lot of folks are watching us on their phones out there, and I suspect a lot of it's on Twitter because YouTube makes it feel like we are alone in the universe, and that's the same for the Missouri Freedom Initiative. So no one should take that personally. But on Twitter, we've got 77 viewers. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, especially during the day when most people are working. When you click on Twitter and watch our show, you honor us. And we're hoping to entertain and inform on everything silver and gold and pretty much everything PorcFest as well. So, and also we could tell things are really picking up because the pavilion, which I said is about 50 feet to my left here, there's like nonstop speakers now. It's not been that way in the past. So the speakers are picking up, and that pavilion gets pretty full now. You know, with so actually a lot more people are coming in now.
Yeah, as we get closer to Saturday, which I think Saturday is the #1 day because I think we have Ron Paul who's going to be teleconferencing in. I don't think he's going to be here in person. That's where most people show up. Plus, most people work Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
So Friday night on Saturday seem to be the busiest days of PorcFest. So we're really looking forward to it.
Yep. And by the way, it's 2:45 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll be ending the broadcast at 4 o'clock today, everyone. And we will not be rebroadcasting again on Citizens for Sound Money until tomorrow, because tonight we're broadcasting on We Are Change. We have been invited to join Luke Radowski on We Are Change. He uses our station right here for his broadcasts. And I think that's tonight, or is that tomorrow night?
No, that's tonight and tomorrow.
Okay, gotcha. So it might be both nights. So keep an eye out for us on We Are Change, which is Luke Radowski's trademark channel. It's his signature, and he has other channels too, but I do believe that's the one we'll be on when I asked him last night.
I think tomorrow they're going to be 4 o'clock versus 6 o'clock, 4 to 6, because he's going to be broadcasting right before we have our happy hour.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sorry, gang, and I'm having a hard time keeping some of the schedule straight. There's a lot of activity here.
Yeah.
And when I say that, that's not an exaggeration. I assure you, the activity level is quite high here at PorcFest. And also, things can sometimes change by the minute. By the way, we are expecting bad weather here at 4 p.m. We are expecting rain. The wind is kicking up, but don't worry. If you're here at PorcFest, right here at the Sound Money tent, we actually have ponchos. A lot of folks forgot to bring them for the nasty weather when it comes along, but we actually carry them. We don't know that anyone else here does. So Sound Money has the solution for money and for rain.
Indeed.
In one tent.
And another shout out to Mining Stocks, who is watching in from Vancouver, Canada.
Awesome. Canada. Nice. Well done, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. In fact, let's see, Canada, if you could put in how much silver is per ounce in Canadian and US and convert that for us, I'd be interested in knowing that, because I haven't looked into, because Canada was usually a little bit higher on the premium than.
I can actually tell you that.
Okay.
We have a website, Citizens for Sound Money. We have the metalmarkup.com. For those of you, right now it's free, but we're going to make this part of an exclusive membership by joining Citizens for Sound Money. So we actually picked up this website. Jim Forsyth, our late founder, thought it was a great opportunity to pick it up. Metalmarkup.com shows you the cheapest bullion dealers in the U.S. and Canada. So 1 ounce of silver is at $30.20. And if you click on Canada next to it,
where do you see Canada? On the bottom,
silver,
gold.
Silver. There you go. It's $41.43. So
wow,
$7 more the Canadian.
Okay, converted into hang on, but that's in Canadian dollars.
Yes.
So what would it be in American?
$30. Go to the left.
Go to the left.
Then click up the U.S. Right there. $30.20. So it's $11.20 more.
So they have the same premium.
Is it percentage wise the same?
I don't know. I mean, that's I used to track that stuff way back in the Truth, Money, and Freedom days.
That's spot.
Okay, gotcha. That is spot, but that's US dollar, but it's Canadian dollars on the other screen.
So if you look down there, so spot Yeah, so but it's about $4 Canadian premium versus the dollar premium. Go down.
Oh, hang on. There we go. 44, but that's still in Canadian though.
That's Canadian. So if you
Yep.
go to the US, it's 36.97.
Yep, gotcha. Look at that, gang. Silver went up quite a bit today. When we were on Ron's basement, Ron credited our motley crew here with the price of silver going up $1. And so I think it's more Ron's basement that actually had silver go up $1. I appreciate the fact that Ron wants to give us some kudos out here for what we're doing in New Hampshire. But my goodness, and I'm going to throw something out because I'm just a tad older than Daniel.
Just a tad.
Yeah, so we're almost twins. I mean, it's so close, but I remember when the movements of silver were about 10, 15 cents per day. All you have to do is go back to 2016. Now you have $2 swings per day, up to we've seen it as much as $3 swings per day. This is how crazy the financial system is here in America. And I suspect it's that way in other parts of the world too. And it's also a really good idea to point out to folks that in US dollars, we're at virtually at an all-time high in gold. Virtually. We hit 2,400 at one point, but we're at 23 something. But in fact, we'll go with gold USA. Let's see what gold is right now. $2,333. But I think, in retrospect, going back in time, the swings we're seeing in gold are also relatively huge right now compared to where they were in 2016. Gold might have moved $10 in a day back in 2016, and we have seen swings of like $150 a day in gold. That's what happens when your currency is failing. These fluctuations are not the value of gold. These fluctuations are literally fluctuations of the dollar and the conversion of the dollar into gold and silver and back from gold and silver into the dollar. Gold and silver maintains its value over time. The dollar clearly has failed. And once again, in fact, it's really hard to follow this anymore, Daniel, but I think the dollar is worth 3 cents now. If you go back to 1913 at the start of the Federal Reserve, where the dollar was worth 100 pennies, I think that we're worth 3 pennies now on the dollar. Is that right?
We got
Marion's here. Wow.
Director of Citizens Soundbite.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, and Marion, you are welcome to join if you want.
Yeah, you want to come on the broadcast?
All right, Marion. Woo-hoo. She is a fan favorite. Everyone's been asking about Marion, so now we can actually. I'm sorry, what's that?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Of course.
Most definitely.
So, people remember you, Marion.
Right
Yeah,
there.
and
Actually.
Yep. Actually, this will work as well.
Yeah,
We can, let me adjust the camera. So actually you can see you're on the wide camera, but let me adjust this camera real quick. It's the PorcFest look. I got you. Get a little bit, let's scrunch together, guys.
It's warm here.
Yep, it is
It's a little
warm.
warm.
I mean, honestly, it came from my tiki mug.
Oh, the tiki mug.
Oh, that's why everyone's coming to PorcFest, apparently. Go ahead and turn the mic on if it isn't. There.
Get a tiki mug.
Yeah.
You can pay for in gold backs.
Yeah, you can. Gold backs.
I
And
see you've got
Look at
some
these.
Silver Dave rounds.
Yes.
He was just here. We were just talking to him for
Yeah.
about almost an hour.
these are awesome. They're 1/10 of an ounce.
Mhm.
They're blank on the other side. So it's planchette one side and then stamp the other side.
You can't go wrong with the fractionalized. It's going to be worth. I mean, that's what you can exchange.
Yep.
So awesome.
100%.
Yep.
It makes it functional. You can
Yep.
use it for daily
sure.
transactions.
So what did I interrupt? What were you guys talking about?
We were talking about how badly the dollar is failing versus
Good
what
Lord.
the value was in 1913, the start of the Federal
You
Reserve.
just got to look at your grocery bill.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
It's gone up.
I have a Marion pricing index. Have I mentioned this?
No,
Okay.
tell
It's
us.
about how much it costs me to fill my Forerunner.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, since the Brandon administration, I like to call it, it's gone up more than 55%. So my real inflation average for the stuff I pay for is probably over 50%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that? I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always matter who the president is, but it kind of does for
It does.
gas prices.
100%. Because I remember on the Trump, I at one point I was paying like 80 something cents a gallon.
That was like my life in high school under Bush. There was 88 cents a gallon. I used to fill my truck for $10 and go a couple weeks. Yeah. So crazy.
Let's go to the wide view so we can get everybody.
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me bring that mouse down.
It's a sweaty
hot.
time here.
Yeah. You know,
have you guys gotten to walk around much?
Yeah, you would
we
last
drove around
night.
last night.
Okay.
We drove around. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi
there. Do you need someone over there at the table?
That's my friend
Okay.
Sammy.
Okay, gotcha. Well, welcome aboard.
And there's Silver Dave coming back with some samples and paper.
Yep.
There we go.
Price list.
Silver Dave is back.
In Ware, New Hampshire. If you're in this area, and you've come a long way, Ware is not that far from here. Right? What, an hour and a half, maybe, Dave? Less than an hour and a half?
You can put some on the gold back table too. A beautiful
display.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So much.
You will get it back. You have our word.
Awesome.
Yep. Cards.
They're over here. They'll hand you goodies over
Thank you.
at their silver shop. I just know he's Silver Dave, or forget the name of your store.
And Marion, look at this.
Local Silverman.
The PorcFest actual.
Dude, that's last year, actually. That's a commemorative.
Yep.
That's a collectible. Right
Yep.
there.
Yes,
It sure is.
I have a few in my desk drawer. I save them because I'm telling you that.
I'm gonna run over to help these gentlemen over
There
at
you
the
go.
table.
Okay, gotcha. Yep, Marion and I've got it. So, yeah, we were talking about basically how we're losing money. Well, actually, even earlier, we were talking about the concept of actually going to bed at night. You lose value of the cash in your bank account, but at the same time, you gain value with your silver and gold.
I mean, it's true. They're so inflation resistant.
Yep.
Even with the tamping, which amazes me how much, there's always obviously an active tamping that happens on like silver and gold prices.
Yep.
More silver than gold, but the same problem.
Yep. Well, an inflationary versus deflationary currency. And I've talked about this before, but this is an interesting concept that I'm not sure that many people in America know, that banks and governments do not survive deflation because taxes go down and interest rates come down. So banks don't survive and governments don't survive. They can put up with it for 6 months or a year, but that's about it. And they will hyperinflate after that when that happens.
So Keynesian driven, right? The economic system of the boom and bust, that they don't even know how to survive without it.
That's right.
So it's going to be a day of reckoning. And it's just kind of when that actually happens, I think.
Yeah. And that when that day of reckoning comes, I hope that everyone remembers that there were other options. We talked about that earlier too, that the people that are literally, their mindset hasn't changed and it's dollar denominated assets. I've got my stocks. I've got my treasuries. I'm safe, Marion, because I've also got 10% bonds in my 401k.
My parents who are in retirement age right now,
yeah,
every year their minimum distribution is going down essentially because the buying power. I mean, they're trying to retire after a life of work, and essentially their money's being made worthless.
That's right.
Thankfully, they've diversified a bit with property and stuff like that, and they've started buying silver at the influence. It's not easy to get someone who changed your diaper to listen to you about gold. But my parents have started buying silver, so they are diversifying that. But I've kind of pushed on that because I don't think we're going to see the same returns on the stock market. I mean, there's no way the dollar can do what it did.
Well, as an example, Venezuela, they had the biggest, baddest stock market on the planet, but they were also hyperinflating at a rate of, what was it? Something weird like 13,000% per year. So of course the stock market went up. They were printing a lot of currency.
The numbers go up, but you ask someone in real life, how much bread can you buy for that? Like Turkey.
Yep.
Our friend Serhat in Turkey, I mean, literally every week it's a different price for bread.
Yep. And Iran and Turkey going through inflation.
Again, not like a few cents like us, like significant difference in Turkey. They get it. I think in those countries they get it more than we do in America, is we're very comfortable.
Sure. I talked to people that were in Venezuela during the worst parts of the hyperinflation, and they said that the prices would change in the grocery store upwards of 20 times per day.
20 times.
20
So
times
that's like
per day.
2,000%. I'm not good at math, but that sounds insane to me.
Yep. So 20 times per day they were putting new prices on the sticker on the shelf for the item.
And
That's how bad it was.
Mining Stock says hello. He says hello, Mary.
Hey,
And he was asking a question. Does Silver Dave have a Twitter account? Do you know Silver Dave has a Twitter account?
The Facebook.
You know what? We got his card.
We have his
So I'm going to go to his website.
A silver store. I'm sure he would take gold though. I mean, he's not.
Type in local silver mint and see what's
Yeah.
up online.
New Hampshire. Do you guys know about Ware, New Hampshire?
I don't. Where is that? Where's where? Where's where?
It's west of Manchester, which is the biggest city in New Hampshire, and it's where this place called the Pine Tree Riot took place.
Yes,
So
I see the
before
pine tree. Yeah.
Before the tea was dumped in the harbor, they protested taxes on pine trees, cutting down pine trees.
Really?
There was a thing with I'm not great at
Yes.
telling this history, but evidently the crown was taxing trees at a certain size.
And if you use
They
the
kept
pine trees for
shrinking the
yeah.
size, and more trees supposedly became the king's trees.
Yeah.
And there was quite a uprising
Well,
about that.
Yeah, I think it was that you couldn't use. Ooh, it looks like this.
If you
this
chopped
chair-
down a tree on your property that was more than like 24 inches,
and
which
you're
at that
using
time
it for
old
your
growth in New
house,
England. Yep.
you had to pay the king a tax because you were using the king's wood.
So yeah. Oh, so he
Lumber.
has a website. Looks like here.
Yep. I don't see anything Twitter
There's
related.
no contact
Yeah.
page. Oh, that's
Yep.
the
They got
contact
a
page.
phone. They got an address. We know in fact, he's not even showing the YouTube channel. Well, it's probably a YouTube channel on here somewhere. Videos. Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
there
I
we go.
think he does a lot of physical, business.
So, Mining Stocks is telling us that the KAG price is incorrect on our shop store. Can you go
Uh-oh.
check that out for a second?
All right, let's go. In fact, Daniel, I'm
sounds
going
like
to
a
turn the
WooCommerce
helm over to
company.
you real
It
quick
does
here.
sound
I
like
got to
WooCommerce.
go hydrate, buddy.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll go ahead and take over the.
Yep. Take over the
Daniel
helm.
can talk for
Sure.
a bit.
All right, folks. Let's go.
Switch.
Switch. All right, cool. All right. Oh, Harry, can I give you a water?
Sure.
All right, so let's go over here. Go check out. Hello, everybody. And we have some people in the Sound Money Market tent,
Came for a tiki cup, and then
and then we got her onto the show. That's how we do things here at Citizens of Sound Money. Donations. Let's go ahead and check out what Mining Stocks is talking about. Not donations. It's actually shop. Boom. And let's see if the KAG. So if those of you want to donate gold and silver, yeah, that seems a little low, huh? No, that's the KU is off too. It's supposed to be 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is also 30. So we're gonna have to figure that out. I will actually message, and let's get over to our.
So WooCommerce.
It could be WooCommerce.
Discount in the next 10 minutes, y'all. Get a discount on
Huge discount. Yeah, that's a little off.
It's
Thank you, Mining Stocks. I will.
a steep discount.
Holy mackerel, folks. The getting is good
There
here.
you go.
Yeah. There's a few things that are off. So
citizensforsoundmoney.org, which is number 4.
yes. Number 4, citizensforsoundmoney.org. If you want to support our legislative efforts, please, by all means, go ahead on our website, Citizens for Sound Money, and go ahead and donate.
Patrick in Missouri did it without any funds for a long time. Just volunteer lobbying. I think that's what happened in Arkansas, my former home state.
Mhm.
Just incredible. I know you guys have talked about the work that you've done, but it's going faster than I
Yes.
expected. So I was involved in the beginnings of Citizens for Sound Money, and just watching what they're doing, it has grown probably at least maybe twice as fast as I expected. I mean, I knew other states were hungry for it,
Yeah.
and I think people are hungry for it because they understand that their buying power is going down significantly.
Yeah.
It's a theft. It's a different kind of theft.
And it's a theft that 1 in a million men will not be able to identify, as John Maynard Keynes, the devil of fiat, I guess you want to call him. He's
Cycles.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, people don't know that they're being robbed every second of every day as they print more currency. So,
They slipped in trillions.
yeah,
Just besides all the other COVID garbage.
yeah,
The inflation of the currency was just. It's hard to even conceptualize because
yeah,
I mean, I'm not a millionaire by any means, and even if I were now, all I could buy is a house.
yeah. And it's yeah, in Missouri. No, it's really cheap in Missouri, actually. The houses.
Beautiful Missouri. I give Patrick a hard time, but lived a long time in Arkansas, so I'm familiar with Missouri, and the Ozarks are beautiful. Don't listen to the TV show. It's not scary. It's actually a gorgeous part of the country.
Oh yeah.
And most of Missouri, besides Kansas City and St. Louis, is pretty rural, and but it's accessible to bigger cities with good airports, and that's my pitch for Missouri.
It's a beautiful state. I love Missouri. The only thing I don't love, and the reason why I won't move there, is taxation. Your taxes are quite quite high. It's tough there, you know. High for a red state. Correction. Compared to New York, it's cheap. Right.
Arkansas is like that. Arkansas is a red state, but they tax their citizens to oblivion. I mean, they get so much, and they're in the Robin Hood state situation. They are the receivers. They're the poor that receives money from states like New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So all your income is being sucked out to go to poorer states, and then that state taxes at the state level at a stupid amount. County level, our county taxes were close to 10%. So
Yep.
I added on top of inflation. They still tax groceries in Arkansas.
They do in Missouri too. I can't believe that they tax food.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about with the corruption.
It's not just selling a car. That's not a Lamborghini.
No, it's not a leisurely product. That's
trying to feed your freaking family.
and you're taxing the residents on food. See, we don't have tax on food in Florida. Prepared food, yeah. I mean, if somebody prepared it, somebody put it in service in the restaurant or whatever.
Sure, we do have tax. And no sales tax in New Hampshire except
In the restaurants.
restaurants and hotels. So there's meals and boarding. So it's got like
Yeah, services, goods. People put some effort. You know, the state wants their cut.
So they still have revenue, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy in states like Arkansas where people, there's poverty.
Yeah.
And they're still just like milking them for everything they're worth. And that's not the quote unquote rich people. That's everybody.
Right.
I definitely wasn't rich in Arkansas, and I paid so much attention. I saved money by moving to New Hampshire, even though the cost of living is technically higher.
Yeah. No, I mean, because of taxes. I mean, the taxes are just non-existent for the most part. And that's why, I was interviewed after my speech here this morning by the PorcFest guys, and they're asking me, about what do you think of the Free State Project? And I commended New Hampshire. I'm like, listen, you guys are doing a phenomenal job, and keep it up. I mean, what you're doing with PorcFest, what you're doing with the Free State Project, bringing liberty-minded individuals, cutting taxes, passing liberty legislation.
So, New Hampshire, I first came here in 2010, and I've lived here 3 different times since 2011. And they have shifted the state liberty mindset. So if you're Republican in New Hampshire, you can't really get away with not voting in the liberty direction.
Yeah.
The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, and just a little shout out for them. They've done an incredible job of scoring the votes and giving you an idea of who's really a liberty candidate and who's a liberty member of the House. And this is the 3rd largest body in the world.
Yes, in the world. Behind India and the U.S.
That's right. 400 members in the U.S. House. The New Hampshire House. What's great about that is it's very accessible. So it's like your neighbor. You can go ask them why they voted wrong on that bill.
Each rep only represents like 3,000 residents.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a very citizen-oriented government, and it's very accessible. So, I mean, there's a lot of good reasons to move here. I would say the weather, but today is not a good example. This is more like Florida or Texas or Arkansas.
Yeah. Well, at 4:00, it might be it's going to get a little cooler because it's going to thunderstorm and rain. So it's going to feel. Yesterday it dropped like 20, 30 degrees. From 90 to the 70s. So I'm looking forward to that rain.
It's a major report. It's rain or it's heat, and you get it everywhere. Or like I think you guys experienced probably on Sunday where it's like cold at night. You can wear a hoodie.
Oh yeah. It was in the 50s or almost. It was a low 50s on Sunday.
And there's still time to get up here for the weekend.
Yeah.
They still have tickets available.
They still have tickets. You can come to PorcFest if you are within, let's say, a 5-hour to 10-hour.
Weekend.
Yeah, come up here for the weekend. It's a lot of fun. You get the experience. Yeah. Yeah, we literally got silver all over the tables now. Thanks to Silver Dave with these 110-ounce. You guys can't see it with tiki cup. Yes, all you can drink tiki cups with fruit punch tea and cold water.
You can't right now.
Adam, he's always disappearing. I don't know where he keeps disappearing to. He is Mr. Goldback here in New Hampshire.
PorcFest here.
My first PorcFest. I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun.
What do you think? How do you feel I shouldn't ask it this on the because I was I'm partial because I was a producer of Liberty Free.
Yes.
That's quite a different event.
Oh well, yeah.
Which is fun in the winter though. That was the original idea with a Free State project is to
Mhm.
have PorcFest in the summer, you come experience the mountains and the beauty of New Hampshire. And then in the winter essentially is Liberty Forum, but it's to show you it's not that scary. Because a lot of people like when I was moving from Arkansas, they're like, oh no, I don't think I could do the winter there. But it was quite pleasant.
It
when you
wasn't
guys
that
were
bad.
there.
Yeah, yeah. And plus, it was near the tail end of I think the winter too, and it wasn't
Like,
bad.
you got it was snow and it was still a great time.
I think.
Not
Yeah, I think it's also because you're so close to the Atlantic, and it's not too bad.
as much as paying taxes or whatever. Some of the cities actually do their city services and shovel the roads and stuff like that. So or it's bars or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've said a few times already on the air. But like when I was driving from Florida to get here, the moment I got into Maryland, I just felt this negative energy. It's like this the negative energy of big government and taxes, and like they wanted to control me. And then I went to Delaware, felt worse, then New Jersey, and then New York was the worst one. Massachusetts, and when I drove past the sign, "Welcome New Hampshire," it's like, oh, freedom and liberty. I'm in a free state.
They used to have a franchise that the seatbelt law is optional for adults.
Oh, I love it.
Like they would say,
Is it really
basically, like,
optional?
we recommend for an adult, but it's not. I think it's still law, like not the law where you have to.
Oh, that's
there's
awesome.
No helmet laws. I'm pretty cool.
And there was no speed limit until recently, if I don't remember.
It's 12 or 13 years. There's been a speed limit.
Oh,
Depends on
okay.
the road you're on, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
Some mountain roads and stuff I don't know about, but on the interstate, there's still a little bit. They've got some better control. But
Yeah, yeah. So, you were mentioning that you saw that Citizen Sound Money grew, or at least the movement of Sound Money has grown twice as fast as you thought it would. And what do you mean by that? You mean like the amount of legislation being pushed through, or?
out of states that are hungry for it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
We were at an event, Daniel and I were, when I was still with the organization in Miami, where a guy from, like an assistant attorney general from Oklahoma
Yes.
was asking us to come to Oklahoma.
Yep.
But we have seen that we started out with like a 4-state plan because we were small and really there's probably 3 times that.
Oh, yeah.
Could use the effort
27 states last year
and
or this year.
for like I have lived in Arkansas, but I'm not actually even familiar with the movement there, where they got rid of the sales tax, they got rid of capital gains there.
And they made it legal tender.
That's right.
Gold and silver is legal tender there now.
They may be.
That's his fault. It was him. He wrote the legislation and gave it to the rep in Arkansas.
Yeah. So in a state that's kind of like fake red, faux red in Arkansas, and they may be ahead of New Hampshire on marijuana actually. So that's
Arkansas?
Yeah.
Really?
I want to say a
Nature's
big
funny.
shout out to my friend, Representative Robin Lundstrom down in Arkansas. She's a real sweetheart.
I need
Thanks.
to meet her. I'll try to meet you when I'm down in Arkansas. If you're anywhere near here, Representative Lundstrom. It's actually a more accessible state legislature here in New Hampshire than Arkansas is. Which
Oh,
is
really?
Because states. Arkansas is a little bigger than New Hampshire. It actually might be about twice as big population wise. So, yeah.
How many people live here? Like 1.6?
Maybe.
That's tiny. Like my county, Broward County has like over 2 million people. Well, the county I grew up in. So
2.5 at this point.
yeah,
They've got some growing areas because of Walmart and stuff like that. But
Florida's a massive state. We got, I think, 24 million residents, and we keep growing at 1,000 to 2,000 new residents a week, because, freedom and liberty.
Florida was ready for this legislation probably
Yes.
more than any other state in the last session.
Yep.
We were able to get it in that weekend. I was there to the governor's desk.
Yeah, we got to the governor's desk. His cabinet approved it. We moved forward. We pushed real hard. But it wasn't that the governor didn't want it. It wasn't that we didn't have the votes. It was the Senate president who. It's always leadership.
Yeah, there are situations like that in a lot of states where it's whoever's in leadership. So it matters if you've got enough votes to kind of deal with leadership. So I mean that's something to think about going into the legislative session, or sorry, election season. is who supports your values.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. But the thing is, you also don't know how an elected official is going to vote, because you might elect a liberty-loving person, but the minute you give somebody a little bit of power, you get to see the true character of the person.
That's what I've seen with leadership in particular. I get nervous when someone I like is about to go into leadership, because
What do they sell out?
Sell out quite a
Yeah.
bit. Not as much at the state level, but it still happens. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to hold their feet to the fire. Politicians hate nothing more than being held accountable.
Yeah.
And
They hate it. They hate it.
that's something I think is intimidating to people.
Mhm.
They're very intimidated by lobbying their government, but frankly, like, if they hear from you, I heard you guys talking about the numbers of how much it represents when you send a letter, how much it
Yes.
represents when you make a phone call, how much
Mhm.
it represents to them, because they feel the pressures.
Yeah.
And they do not like to feel pressure.
Yep.
So that's not a time to like back down. That's a time to double down.
Yeah.
Because they
100%.
just don't. The strongest force in politics. You've done LI classes? Right?
Yes.
Leadership Institute. The strongest force in politics is inertia.
Yes.
They want to not do stuff. And
Yep.
so if you can make it uncomfortable for them and what they're doing, it's amazing. You can see change happen, and you guys have seen that this legislative session.
100%.
A lot of movement.
Especially in Missouri, like, oh gosh, O'Donnell was chairman of the Financial Institutions Committee, and he killed every single gold bill that came across his desk. So we had to basically pull the Speaker Plocker. The only thing Speaker Plocker did was he allowed the SB 735 to go through the House very quickly, but he refused to bring it up for a vote. So, I mean, I guess we can give him props for keeping up his word on that part, that he'll let it go through the House really quickly the last week of session. But he lied to our faces about allowing it to come up for a vote.
But that happened to me. You're like, you think you have a good meeting, and
Yeah.
so it's not a sprint. That they say it's a marathon. And,
It is.
but I fully believe that what you're doing is the only answer to CBDCs.
Yeah.
You can't fight the federal once they get their stuff in line. If the
No.
states can beat the federal to the punch, which I think is what you're doing with your legislation,
Yes.
at that point they can't fight it, and because the states have a constitutional right to assert themselves.
Yeah.
We know about gold and silver in the Constitution. We also know about the 9th and 10th Amendment.
Yes.
And a lot of states have not had a spine about it, but it's changing. I really think it's changing. Where if you get out ahead of them, what are they going to say? Right? We already have a system. We're independent. Texas is close, I think, to having Utah probably, where they don't have to have the federal, so they don't do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, there's no fighting on the face of CBDCs.
Right. No.
You got to get out ahead of it for an alternative and give people an option of how do we even exchange real money? How do we protect our wealth, and how do we exchange on a personal level?
100%. And it's that when Silver Dave was here, we were actually talking about that, how the best time he was in the special forces training, and I guess they tortured him or whatever. I don't know what they did in the military. They do crazy things in special forces, but they basically tortured him and tried to get him to escape. And he was saying that the best time, if you're captured, you're a POW, the best time to escape is in the middle of a transition. From when they've captured you into a hardened area, and if you get to that hardened area, your chances of escaping diminish very quickly. And he was saying right now is the best time for the sound money legislation to get pushed through. It's the right time to bring sound money back, because we're in a transition period from paper fiat to CBDCs, and this transition period is probably one of the last opportunities without violent revolution, which I am personally against, but the violent revolution from transitioning and freeing us from the controls of slavery of the fiat economy. So
Now, I had conversations with Jim Forsyth. I'm sure you brought him up on the show.
Yep.
About this is the time.
Yes.
I mean, I think we're hitting the perfect time in history to do this, and this is our last stand in a way. And I don't mean that as a doom and gloom. I mean as a rallying cry.
Yeah, hope.
Because federal government's notoriously slow and cumbersome.
Yes.
And we need to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
We just get so much more done.
States are a little more limber, a little faster.
So,
And I just want to point out, I love mining stocks. It's like we got 89 people watching help the movement. Imagine if everyone just donated $1. In fact, what if everybody donated $10? That'd be $890.
So
Oh, yeah.
Goldback's $5 at Liberty at PorcFest right now. Actually, I can't believe I'm exchanging for $5.
I know.
That's inflation.
That's inflation. It isn't that they're worth $5 more. It's just the dollar's lost that much value. You know, so if you are watching right now, go ahead and visit. Give $1, give $10. If you give $100, that's $8,900 that could help us for lobbying this coming legislative session. So
So cool. It makes a difference so quickly.
It does.
I want to say, like, when you go state and local, I used to work in DC and stuff, and it's just so discouraging.
Yeah.
I tell you, at the state level, those are your neighbors in a lot of
Yeah.
cases, particularly New Hampshire, right? Because we're such great extreme representation.
yeah,
But it's just you can affect lives so quickly. So that it's a worthwhile investment for sure in your future of money. Like your money is worth less every day.
Yeah.
Because you can't exchange it some of these other currencies, and I think that is something else you can probably speak to is the different options. Like
yeah.
it's getting easier to exchange in things that aren't fiat currency.
Yeah, like you have Glint Pay, where right now, if you go to glintpay.com, I think it is, you can open up, you can download their app, open up an account, and they have a partnership with a U.S. bank where you can send currency to the Glint account, which is a bank account with I think Sutton Bank or something, and then you can buy gold and silver. You pay $10, they'll ship you, or $5, they'll ship you a Glint debit card, and you can start using gold and silver today. You can do it with the United States Precious Metal Association, partner with Alpine Gold and Goldbacks, where you can actually send dirty fiat over to the UPMA, buy golden eagles or goldbacks.
Private, anyway.
Yes, because it's a trust.
PMA. Yep.
It's a trust. It's a 501c6 membership organization. So all your money, real money, right? Because it's gold and silver that's in your trust. They don't report because it's your trust. There's nobody has any right knowing. Yeah, so they do everything a bank can do, but it's not a bank account. It's actually a trust. And in fact, you can put your assets. Well, not just your gold and silver, but you can put your house, your car, maybe your children in there. No, I'm kidding about the children.
Tokenized real estate.
Oh yes, and you.
Stuff. That stuff he knows more about. He knows more about.
Yeah.
But it's an incredible opportunity to invest in asset-backed currency.
Yep.
Land, they're not. It's my grandpa used to say they're never going to make any more land.
No, they're not.
I mean, maybe in Dubai. So like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they could make Dubai, grab sand and make an island. Yeah.
Creeks. It's always of some intrinsic value. Because, especially in areas where you can farm.
Yes.
It's always a value. So worth looking into Porcupine Real Estate. You should lend him some of your insights on different digital things. But
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I'll definitely come over.
Interested. I mean, there's so many ways now, more even than 3 years ago or whenever we got started, that options of real money.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Out of fiat stuff. I'm working on it in my own life. It takes a transition because our system is based on that. It's based on debt. You just kind of have to change your mindset and understand that it's a short term.
Yeah.
And long term is those assets.
And as long as people accept gold and silver and cryptocurrency, if my bank accounts are shut down, I'll be okay. But right now that there are very few companies, very few merchants, except that, and that's why companies like Glint load Kinesis, UPMA, where you can actually load up a debit card and right now Kinesis and Load, they are supposed to be coming out with a US based debit card. They are active in Europe.
It's been difficult. I mean, I got frustrated because I'm a Kinesis customer. I love the company. I love what they're doing, what they're trying to do, and the problem is governments hate it.
Yes, and that is the problem.
It feels frustrating when you're like a member or you're trying to invest in that system because the government doesn't want it to do well. So they keep running into problems with the US debit card, but know that that's not them. That's them trying to fight the system and the resistance that they're meeting.
And mining stocks right now, he actually just donated with his Kinesis virtual debit card. We did get it. Thank you very much. We actually he did 1 ounce of silver, but it's actually the KAG is whatchamacallit, it's off. It's $23 versus $30. So yeah, there you guys are having you guys have a discount on silver. Right now you guys can send cheap
Just talked to Jim about was democratizing sound money. So
yep,
get your discount today.
there you go, get your discount. Well, thank you so much, Mighty Stocks, for the donation using his Kinesis virtual debit card, because he is not in the United States. He is in Canada, Vancouver.
Sad Damon that's using in Canada.
It's easier in Canada to get to use your Kinesis card and spend your gold and silver in the socialist state of Canada and versus the great state of the United States, you know.
Well, speaking of great states, I'm gonna get back to figuring out what's going on here in New Hampshire.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Yeah, absolutely.
English friend, I was happy to come see him. Adam's, I've been friends for a while, even though he's MIA right now.
Yeah, he's been MIA.
He just take.
I don't know what. No, let's not get him in trouble with Mark Hilton, but I don't know where he's been. He's been running around doing things for Alpine, and
yeah, he's doing a lot of work. He really Alpine.
Yeah.
Actually,
is doing a lot.
Try to go by his store. I don't know if you have time, but like his store in Manchester is a fun place.
Oh, I've been there.
It's really cool map.
It's you know, I'm not super tall, but I'm fairly tall, and it feels weird when I'm only an inch or two away from the ceiling. It's
that's Manchester. It's an older city. People don't like to. In New England, they like to preserve their historic buildings, so you're not like
people were shorter back then. 150 years, you know.
But yeah, so shout out to Alpine Gold. That's no slam on Adam. I actually saw him earlier, so just in passing.
And I'm not to get him in trouble. He is coming in and out of the tent, and he has people working here, so it isn't like he's not doing anything. But
I think they know. I think the Hilton guys know. You guys got to get here more.
Yeah.
Mark was here for Liberty Forum, right?
Mark was here for Liberty Forum, but I wish he was here for PorcFest. It would have been great.
So there'll be opportunities. It's a great place for Liberty, as you know.
Indeed.
Like, seriously, like crossing the border, it really does feel very different.
Yes, I have a soundboard. I just want to let me see. Did you get Fiat or some KAG 54 account? I don't know. Do you know how this works? It's WooCommerce. Did the KAG?
So it's a direct because of there's a plugin.
Is that why is that what the prices are off? The plugin isn't working?
It might be a thing like that. Yeah, but there's a plugin for direct exchange of Kinesis.
Got you. So I'm
I
asking.
forget the name of the app. I wish I could because I'd shout that guy out. He's great at it, but.
I'm asking Marion because she's my predecessor and she's the one that set up everything.
But
so
it should go directly into our KAG account.
Oh, so this should go directly.
It should go directly into
C4 Sims. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, once we're done with the show, which will be in about 30 minutes, I'll go ahead and check mining stock. I'll see if we got the KAG into our account, which it should be in our account.
It's probably just a ticker thing.
A ticker thing. Okay, cool. So I'll double check and thank you so much. I'm gonna see crypto.
It's CRYPTONIQ is a plugin. So if you're a business owner, it's something to look into where you can directly accept KAU and KAG.
Got you.
And I think some other cryptos.
I think
Then you don't pay a fee.
Okay.
It's just a peer-to-peer exchange. So just something to look into. I wish I knew the guy's name or did the app for us, but it's essentially a plugin through API for WooCommerce, and so you can get you can have people pay you directly, and then UPMA has something similar. You can pay directly in UPMA accounts, but I don't fully know their exchange situation, but
I think
get the government out of your exchange currency, the better. So.
Indeed. So I just wanted to give a round of applause to mining stocks. Is this working? Oh, it's supposed to be. No, wrong one. That's not an applause. There we go. Thank you for the donation. Yeah, you did. Well, thank you so much, Marion, for coming on. It was great chatting with you. And which PorcFest? How many PorcFests have you been to?
6.
5 or 6. Okay, a lot of veterans, man. A lot of veterans here.
Yeah, I love New Hampshire.
Yeah,
it's. I don't know if you've gotten a glimpse of the view from here. It's incredible. The mountains. You'll have to show people. Get some B-roll of
Yeah.
What an incredible part of New Hampshire.
It's a beautiful area. You know, when we were driving here, we drove by the mountain of the old man's
Oh, yeah.
face.
Yep,
He's
we're-
no longer there.
Right.
He fell
It's
off,
been gone since
unfortunately.
2003, I think.
It was 03 that they fell off.
But the Franconia Notch is a great job. Like, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful state, especially coming up here to the White Mountains. So, yeah, awesome. Well,
I'm out of here.
all right, thank you, Marion. And as Marion is heading out, I do want to promote some of what the thank you, Marion. I'll catch you around. I'll text you and we'll catch up.
Thanks for coming on.
We're going to.
I got your water.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So we're just promoting Citizens Sound Money, what we're doing. If you did not donate online, you can definitely donate Bitcoin or dirty fiat right now to support what we're doing. We have our schedule of events for the rest of the week. We have Rob Keynes, who is our newest board member, coming and giving a talk tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the dollar currency alternatives. So when the dollar collapses, you can talk about those currency alternatives that are out there. And we are also actually having a breakfast on Saturday morning. $15 12-inch burritos. We have chorizo and veggie burritos along with water. And then on Friday night, after Rob Keynes' talk, we're going to have our End the Fed happy hour. It's a $50 fundraiser entry fee. You get one entry into a door prize. And then we'll also have whatchamacallit? Raffles. We're going to have a silent raffle with jewelry, gold, silver, collectibles, and so forth. We also have our 50-50 raffle. I counted. We've raised already $267, which is the most we've raised so far this week, and we're still adding. So if you want to be a part of the 50-50 raffle and win potentially over, right now it's $132, $33, and it's going to continue growing. So if you want to be part of our 50-50 raffle, go ahead and scan that QR code right there that says US dollar QR or Bitcoin QR. Put in the notes in the US dollar QR, which is going to be our donor box link, that this is for the 50-50 raffle. It's $5 for one ticket or 5 tickets for $20. So if you send $20, say I want 5 raffle tickets, I will keep a track of our email and I will go ahead and fill out your ticket. Make sure you put your phone number, and I already have your email, so we'll put that on the ticket as well.
All right. Hey, we had a question here. Will you be reposting the stream with Benjamin Schaefer interview from yesterday? The answer is yes. We had some technical issues, and basically we're gonna have to wait till next week when I can get home. And I can fix those issues and we can get that reposted. The answer is yes. That is definitely going back up, gang.
Or I can actually take this laptop home tonight and work on that. It's powerful enough to work and edit the video. So we gotta edit a few things because there were some technical difficulties yesterday, and then we'll be able to repost it on Twitter and on YouTube because we had some great interviews with Benjamin Schaefer from finance.gold, not FINANCE. It's PHINANCE.gold. And we also had a phenomenal talk with an economist from the American Institute of Economic Research, Jason, not Rosen. Sorens. Jason Sorens. It was phenomenal. We had an amazing talk.
Yeah,
yes,
that
we will be
going back up, gang. Guaranteed.
We will be posting that again. It's too good of a talk. And thank you, Mining Stocks, for the donation. Anybody else who'd like to donate and help the Sound Money movement progress freedom in our age, this is the right time to do it. The transition is happening between fiat paper currency to CBDCs, and this is the best time to go ahead and disrupt the system and get freedom. So, anything else, Patrick?
No, I think, basically you covered it pretty well. But first of all, thank you for everyone for donating.
Yeah.
This is actually quite important. And the whole movement itself should be really simple to get done. I heard the conversation, guys, I slipped away for a little while. I heard the whole conversation with Daniel and Marion. And the fact is, it should be simple. It should. But it's not. In 2 years, we've tried to get this done in the state of Missouri. and shut down by one person. And I suspect that's the case in many other states as well. So actually, that traveling to states, airline tickets and hotel, to stay in another state to actually lobby for the legislation does cost money. So anyone who can afford to give, and times are tough. We get that. We understand that. But that's why we have to do it, is because times are tough. So that's not an excuse for me personally. I still, I give very much so, to the effort, guys. I really, truly do. And I'm not here to actually shame anyone who is not helping, but the reason we need sound money legislation in the States is because times are tough.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Well, I am actually getting a little lightheaded because I haven't eaten anything.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm gonna go ahead and step away for a minute, just have a quick bite, and I'll be right back. And actually, we can have Doctor.
Someone who would
love to come
like
on, Dr. David Schlereth. Third time today. You are famous, my man. You are famous. Come on up.
Switch places.
All right, great. I'll step right in. Let me talk to you about what's going on tonight.
Okay, yeah. Well, right back.
No problem. He'll be back, gang. Okay. All right. So it is 3:35 p.m. right now in New Hampshire Eastern Time. And what that means is we're going to end our broadcast at 4 o'clock. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Luke Radowski will be here, and he's using our broadcast station and his laptop. So basically, we have to clear out basically so he can start setting up, the cameras the way he likes them and all the software the way he likes it. But also, too, we have a storm rolling in at around 4 o'clock as well. So just to keep that in mind. And let's see, I'm going to read some of your comments here. Blame Plocker for killing the temporal food tax. That is correct. Guys, we have talked about Dean Plocker and what Dean Plocker did. And we have talked about that extensively on our live streams on the Missouri Freedom Initiative. But Plocker killed more than silver and gold. That is correct. In fact, what Voodoo Queen said, and what they were talking about earlier when Marion was here with Daniel, was about sales tax on food. Now, the Missouri Freedom Initiative was trying to get rid of the sales tax on food for 2 years. That would be 2022 and 2023. What we found out was Plocker simply wouldn't allow that bill to get to the floor, the House floor. He was speaker, and he was floor leader in 2022 and 2023. He was speaker in 2024. He was speaker. We didn't even try in 2024 because what is the point if we work our butts off going up to Jefferson City? Once again, in the Missouri Freedom Initiative, we don't get paid for doing that. Going up there, literally many visits up to the Capitol. For me, it's 2 hours and 45-minute drive, taking the day off of work. Everyone knows what that's like. Just so we can get it right to Plocker, and Plocker kills it as soon as it gets to him. We get it through the Senate. We get it through, all the committees in the House. And then when it comes time to go on the calendar, to go on the House floor, it just sits on the calendar. So these are the politicians we deal with in Missouri, unfortunately. And I don't know that Plocker ever gave a reason other than one time he actually told our crew, the Missouri Freedom Initiative, no more tax cuts. Now, he's a politician, but he's also a Republican. Well, he runs as a Republican. I don't think he truly is a Republican, but I think he's more of a corporatist. But that's one of the issues we've had in the state of Missouri is Republicans that don't want to cut taxes. Now, Daniel complained about Missouri's taxes, and he is correct, but the connotation he gives is we're taxed as bad in Missouri as they are in California. That is not the case. In fact, Illinois, next door neighbor to Missouri, has significantly higher taxes than Missouri does. But we're a conservative state, and so we're supposed to be cutting taxes, particularly when we have all-time high revenues coming into the state coffers. And that's what we were attempting to do. Now we can get back to gold and silver legislation with Plocker. And now not with Plocker, but with several other Republicans in the House and a couple in the Senate actually said something strange, gang. And once again, I'm telling you my experiences of dealing with the legislature in Missouri. And I go to the Capitol and I go face to face and talk to these legislators. It's what we call knock and shock. And there's far too many Republicans in Missouri that literally say, They did not want to get rid of capital gains on gold and silver. They didn't mind it becoming legal tender, but they didn't want to get rid of capital gains. Well, you can't do that. You have to get rid of capital gains if you're going to do legal tender. You have to. And so, in fact, we were talking about O'Donnell. That'd be Representative Mike O'Donnell. He's the chairman of the Financial Institutions Committee. You know, we're talking gold and silver. Three versions of the silver and gold bill went into his committee, and he eviscerated all of them. But private conversations behind closed doors, he said this not publicly, but in private conversations, we're not going to cut the capital gains tax on gold and silver. And I do remember several conversations I've had with other representatives that went and talked to O'Donnell, because O'Donnell was very angry with me. And he said literally to Representative Bill Hardwick, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm just being honest, gang. I'm going to give you the brass tacks. And those in the Missouri Freedom Initiative, and once again, this is our silver and gold legislation we were trying to get done in Missouri. He literally said, if Pat Holland shows up in my office or calls my office, I'm tanking silver and gold legislation in the committee. So he made it personal. And we did a telephone campaign to his office. I don't know exactly how many calls went into his office, but I suspect it was upwards of 400 phone calls. And he got really angry about that. You know, he's committee chair. And as a committee chair, you serve the entire state, not just your district. So these phone calls were coming from all over Missouri, and he was offended by that. He didn't like all those phone calls coming in. And that is the truth. I'm not actually filling you guys with fluff on this. This is what we deal with in Missouri with some of the Republicans. Don't get that impression about all of them. We've got some really good folks in Missouri, but unfortunately they're outnumbered. And so as far as legislation goes in Missouri, we have tried for 2 years now to get the Constitutional Money Act passed. And for 2 years, Plocker is the reason it didn't go through. So what Daniel said is true, leadership. But these are the times where we actually need it. In fact, if we were really smart in Missouri, we would have had this done 10 years ago. And because 10 years ago, it would have seemed more like a fanboy bill. It really would have seemed that way 10 years ago. And now it seems like this is an honest to God lifeboat. And if leadership is to let that lifeboat actually go through the legislative process, there has to be something in it for me, is what they think. This is very important legislation, and there must be something in it for me in order for me to get it through. And that's kind of the way we felt with that situation with trying to get the legislation passed in the state of Missouri. There was no shortage of phone calls, emails, and visits to the Capitol. Very structured visits to the Capitol too. It's not chaos when we go up there. The Missouri Freedom Initiative is pretty good about that. We really do a good job of making sure that everything's organized, and also we collect intel, so we know better who to talk to and why we need to talk to them. So there is a lot of work involved in actually, trying to get something done through your legislature. But as a citizen of Missouri, it surely doesn't make me feel very good that leadership is so averse to actually getting something done for the people unless there's something in it for them. Now, they would tell you, oh, no, that's nonsense. We went ahead and got the SB 727 this year done, basically vouchers for schools. And we did. We actually got that done this year. But the government controls every aspect of those vouchers, gang. Government controls it all. And that's not what we wanted. We wanted no strings attached vouchers so that parents, basically had lots more freedom. So what do I mean by that? Information collection on the children to the federal government, or I'm sorry, not federal, I'm sorry, state government, in the form of DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So they're collecting data on any kid that is using the voucher system. Number two, reading material. The suggested reading material comes from DESE, a very woke Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education is extremely woke. So they seem to be fans of some of these books out there that a lot of people are upset about. And so those are on quote unquote the approved reading list. Things of that nature, government involvement in education if you do a voucher. Now in Missouri, I think we have the freest homeschool laws in the state of Missouri. I think we're freer than Utah. And Utah is pretty good, with homeschooling. So I don't mean to go in that direction here. When it comes to being here at PorcFest and everything, we're going to concentrate more on gold and silver. But what I'm trying to convey to you is how difficult it is to get legislation done. And in some cases, how difficult it is to kill it. And that's when it's bad legislation. And SB 727 was something the state of Missouri didn't want. And it was a huge battle. The grassroots, 27 grassroots organizations representing probably 2 million people got involved in this. And that's why it took so long for them to get it done. But ultimately, and Plocker was using the lieutenant governor and the secretary of state to put pressure on legislators for them to vote yes. And of course, a lot of money was flowing into PACs to try and get them to vote yes, because corporations are going to make a mint off of this. So that's what we deal with as grassroots, dealing with legislators in states. And this isn't true of all states, but we do have a rhino and a corporatist problem in the state of Missouri. So we and once again, our primaries are coming up. We have open primaries, which kind of sucks. I wish we either had closed primaries or, basically no primaries. I think that would be better. So we have to get some of these people out. Dean Plocker is running for Secretary of State. This is a man who is literally caught up in no less than 4 scandals in 2023. He's caught lying all the time, and he wants to control elections in Missouri. He takes all kinds of money into his PAC to kill bills or to get bills through, and this happens all the time. That's what we deal with Dean Plocker. And I don't mean to complain about what we had to deal with Dean Plocker, but this is what happens when people aren't paying attention. And also this is what happens when, more specifically, I would say people just vote R. You have to research your candidates. And now we have Dr. David Schlereth back with us, so we could probably get a more interesting conversation going. So welcome back. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So
getting it done.
Yep.
Where the rubber meets the road.
That's right. And I actually can feel it starting to cool off. So the clouds must be rolling in.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
And tomorrow is supposed to be cooler. I was told tomorrow will be cooler.
okay, that's good.
Yeah, it was in the 90s yesterday and touching the 90s again today, right?
Yep. It's a bit sweaty out here.
Yeah.
If you wear black, people don't see you sweat. So that works out pretty good for me. Okay, so sound money movement, and I'm going to talk to you about this because we when we were on Ron's Basement, okay, you are obviously a subscriber to Ron's Basement YouTube channel, Silver and Gold channel.
Correct.
Okay, so you kind of were an instigator of getting a whole bunch of people around the nation together through Ron's Basement. Was this, were you thinking that at the time?
It was primarily. Yes, it was, as a matter of fact, but it was primarily seeing you on Ron's Basement talking about what you were doing in Missouri. And I said, we got to network with this guy because he's the one that's getting it done. And I knew of Citizens for Sound Money doing similar things, trying to get legislation passed in Florida, New Hampshire. And I said, Daniel, there's one guy on the internet who's actually interviewing people involved in the sound money movement, people involved in trying to advance the legislation. And that's Ron's Basement. I'd love to get you on his show because he's had some really good people on there. And I think that would be an excellent forum for you and a place where you can network and make connections. And all I did was, I think I called Ron. I sent him a text. I forgot how I tracked him down, but I guess he posts this information on his YouTube channel. And I just reached out to him and he got back to me in a matter of hours. He called me back. And very friendly, very personable guy, just like he sounds, just like he seems. And I told him who I was, that I was just an interested party, a patriot, and a sound money advocate. And I knew of the legislation that we were imminently trying to pass in Florida. And I knew the people that were proposing it. And I suggested, you really ought to have Daniel Diaz on your show. So I said, he's the Pat Holland of Florida.
Yep. There you go.
And so, he's going to be a perfect fit for your show. And I continuously praise Ron for all that he's doing for the Liberty Movement. I said, Ron, you may not realize this, but nobody else is doing what you're doing.
That's right.
Nobody's hosting these people that are doing important work. You're actually advancing the cause of liberty. You're not just chatting about the price of silver, the ups, the downs, the manipulation. That's all interesting. But what's really important is that we get legislation passed to reclaim constitutional money back in this country, that we get our citizens a parallel economic system, banking system that they can fall back on when the dollar flops on its face.
That's right. And I think you're right. Basically following the silver and gold channels. Now, thankfully, Dunnigan Kaiser with Liberty and Finance has had me on several times. But other than that, and hang on, there was one other guy, the Salivate Metal.
Yes.
And, yeah, he doesn't concentrate on this, but he had me on one time, and he was very gracious too. And the video did well. But Dunnigan Kaiser's had me on, I think, 3 or 4 times. But Ron concentrates not just on me, but on the other states that are doing the same thing. He's the only one doing it. You're right. And it's a niche, and it resonates hardcore with the people, I think.
Absolutely. And it's great when he gets, he's had the sponsors of the legislation on there, the senators and
he had
and the representatives.
Yeah, did you see when Bill Hardwick, Representative Bill Hardwick actually came to the basement?
No, I missed that one.
Okay, gotcha. So actually, he's HB 1955, the Constitutional Money Act, right there in Missouri, and he literally he gave Ron the chance. He says, if you want me to, I'll come to the basement because I'll be in the St. Louis area, or if you want, we'll do it video. And so Ron said, well, if you're in the area, I'd love to have you in the basement. It was a brilliant video. And
it's great.
So, but Ron cares that much. I mean, basically to have people in his, studio and everything, the basement is enormously important because it actually gives you a sense that this is a little more real than this guy in Southwest Missouri near Springfield, basically just getting on video and talking about this. And I've been chastised for this, David, because I do so much up in Jefferson City, and there's a lot of folks in the initiative, and that's a big organization. We have over 3,000 people. They get after me because I never do videos. I never do pictures. I am just moving the group along and keeping it organized because we only have so much time in a day, and everyone took the day off of work. That day has to count for something. We have to get a certain amount of work done in my mind. So I don't think about videos and pictures and things of that nature. So, and the reason I brought that up is because Ron actually bringing a politician into his basement actually made it more real, I think, for a lot of people.
People need to see that.
Yeah,
absolutely. They want to see these people's faces, and they want to hear them speak about what they're proposing.
Yeah.
And they want to be able to try and pick it apart. And of course, Ron will ask important no-brainer questions, and he also allows for interaction with his audience.
Yep.
You can do a comment and ask a question, and it'll get answered.
Yeah.
I remember I was so happy when Ron got Daniel Diaz on, and then there was another episode shortly after that where he had the sponsors of the legislation in Florida on there.
He did.
He also had Keith Ammon on talking about what was happening in New Hampshire. You've been on several times. I know you had some of your other legislators. How many legislators from Missouri?
Bill Eigel and Bill Hardwick. He had the two main sponsors of the Constitutional Money Act on.
Yeah.
So, it's so, he's really, really digging in, his heels into something that I think is probably the most important legislation of I know I hear this a lot, most important election of our lifetime, but guys, this is truly the most important legislation in our lifetime. The tyranny.
Send a single election.
Yeah, yes, it will. It will transcend all elections. The tyranny that awaits with the central bank digital currency is stuff that, a lot of people like to sit around tables and talk about how bad it can get. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to see what tyranny looks like, look at Venezuela. They went from, I hate to say democracy, but they were part republic, part socialist, to complete socialist, to communist in 4 years, gang. 4 years is all it took when their money went down. And once again, this is very important concept for folks to understand that all the craziness you see here in the United States, it's directly related to the failing of the US dollar.
Yeah, they had absolute chaos in Venezuela.
Killing each other for food.
Yes.
In fact, one of my favorite stories, I say favorite because I remember it so well, is when the zoo in Caracas was infiltrated and all the zoo animals were killed and eaten because people were starving because they couldn't afford food with that hyperinflation. And so that's how bad it can get, gang. And also there was one story that came out of Venezuela of one man who killed another man over a can of peaches. And so, will it get that bad in the United States? I don't know. I hope not. But I guess when you start reading stories like this in other countries, and it's not too long ago, gang, we're talking about stories that are 6 years old. 6 years old. I mean, no older than that. This isn't from...
Implore people to start debanking yourself. Get out of the banking system. I use my bank account just to pay the bills. I keep just enough floating in there. Everything else is in physical metals, in a depository, safe and sound. And I feel much better holding my assets in physical precious metals than I do paper of any type.
Yep.
You want to have everybody talks about a diversified portfolio, but when you talk to these professional financial advisors, next to none of them will ever have their clients have any allocation into physical precious metals.
In fact, when they talk about diversifying, I agree with them. But you're going to diversify into land, so preferably farmland, and then also cows, chickens, silver, and gold. That's diversification there for you. But that's
yes. Very wholeheartedly.
So dollar-denominated assets like stocks and bonds and, things of that nature, even, shares in companies, beyond stocks, ownership in companies is all well and good, but probably not in a hyperinflation. So it's something we all need to think about. But we're, by the way, as a caveat, Dr. Dave and I are not financial planners. We're not financial consultants.
This is not financial advice.
Yeah, it's not financial advice, but we certainly share what we do.
Only.
Yeah, entertainment purposes only. My wife and I are partial homesteaders, by the way. So I'm very much into homesteading, but we're not all the way there, but we're partial homesteaders. We got some good stuff going on. And it's wrapped around what we just said: land,
and
food.
Of course, always, shop around, do your own due diligence. A great alternative, a great association. I really like United Precious Metals Association, Alpine Gold, Goldback, that group of people in Utah. They are diehard sound money people. And look into the accounts that they offer you to bank your assets in physical gold and silver U.S. legal tender coin, either U.S. Silver Eagles or U.S. Gold Eagles or the American Buffalo coins.
Yep. I'm a big fan of the Buffalo coins, by the way. And I love Eagles, don't get me wrong. And folks come after me for that once in a while going, you need Eagles, man. You need more Eagles. I do have Eagles. I just don't have a lot of them. It's the premium. For a government, David, this is great. Gosh darn it, we haven't talked about this yet. For a government that's inflating our currency the way it is, and by the way, that's not us, that's a government in the commercial banking network and system. For them to literally inflate our currency away and also have the highest premiums on a silver round out of West Point, the U.S. Mint, I mean, they're screwing us every way. Even if you want to go to their
it's purposeful. We got a law passed here having the United States Mint. They are supposed to create American silver eagles and gold eagles and gold buffaloes they're supposed to provide us with bullion coins sufficient to meet demand.
That's correct.
They have never lived up to their charter.
Oh, do you remember when they shut down West Point during COVID to make face shields? It was a lie.
Suppliers are always on allocation for their products from the U.S. Mint, the Silver Eagles and the Gold Eagles.
That's right.
They're always on allocation. They always want more than they can get. And sometimes they're just not even making them.
That's right.
We know what's going on behind the scenes of the Mint. Other people have reported on that. Big Square with Road to Ruta. His website covers a lot about what's going on over at the U.S. Mint. And it's not good. They're not making enough coins. And because they don't make enough coins, the premiums are high. The other thing that really frustrates me is that, they're still trying to get us for capital gains. In England, in the UK, the coin of the realm from the Royal Mint, the Britannias, the gold Britannia, no VAT.
That's correct. No VAT taxes on gold.
And no capital gains on Britannias.
You can't make the rich people unhappy with their investment, David, but you can go after the poor people that are buying silver, right? So
give me the same, at least give us the same here with the gold coin, with our American silver, American gold eagle. But still, that wouldn't be sufficient because they don't make enough of them.
Well, to be clear, in England, it's what we would call spot price. I'm sure they call it spot there as well because of the LBMA premium, and then VAT. So for folks, don't be confused. Their VAT tax is different than just a premium.
It's still a VAT on the silver.
Yes, there is, just on silver. Gold has no VAT tax, but they do have a premium on gold there, but no VAT tax. And VAT tax on silver is 20%. 20%.
That's outrageous.
And so that's a value added tax, VAT. That's England for you.
It's a monetary metal, and it should be treated as such.
Mhm.
It was originally a monetary metal. You want to reclassify it as a commodity. There's a lot of reasons we know why they manipulate these things, particularly silver. Department of Defense obviously has a strong interest in having cheap silver for all their toys. But it's in the Constitution, gold and silver, legal tender.
Yep. And that's why it should be so easy to get done legislatively. So easy.
It's both. We can't just have a gold standard. That reminds me of a very good article that I came across and I made a note of here somewhere. And if I'll just try and pull it up real quick. Where was it?
Hey, Tom Martz is checking in on Twitter here. I'm going to take a look at that real quick. I don't see where that was. Hang on. Let me see if I can find it. Freedom Nettle. No, that's on their comment section. I'm bringing that over. Go ahead, David.
So there was an excellent article that I came across on a website, gold-eagle.com. And the title of the article is Gold Standard Fiat in Disguise by J.N. Tiega. He wrote it in January 19th, 2002. But in this paper, he explains why you need a bimetallic standard. If you have only one, it doesn't work. You need the two to kind of feed off each other and float freely. I think that was one of the major mistakes they made with the monetary system back then, is that we tried to fix the value of one to the other.
Yes, we did.
And that causes Gresham's law to come into effect, arbitrage opportunities, people shifting from one to the other. If they float freely from day to day, I think that's probably the best solution. Just let them be. Let them be their own entities, and they will support each other.
And don't manipulate their prices, basically in the futures markets or with spoofing with the banks, once again with futures contracts. That's what JP Morgan got caught doing more times than we can remember. In fact, they got so bad with JP Morgan, they compressed 6 years worth of sins into one federal lawsuit against JP Morgan and just fined them $1 billion. But a lot of experts say they made about $6 to $7 billion with what they did, and profit, not gross.
Yep.
Profit. And
doing business.
That's right. Cost of doing business. The government's like,
and they were fined. So they were fined $920 million. Then 3 years later, just recently, they were fined another $348 million. And I hear there was another fine, I think, after that even.
Yeah, there was. That was the last fine
Something
before
like
they gave
million or something.
No, it was $1 billion. Or it was just shy of $1 billion.
It was 920 million.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And that's when they gave it up to BlackRock because no one sues BlackRock. Now BlackRock's doing it, and the government's not going to sue
I'm
BlackRock.
curious about what's happening now, because as the price of silver was getting high, it was up there at $32. I heard that 4 of the CEOs of the major bullion banks were quote unquote summoned to Shanghai.
I'm sure they were.
But they went to Shanghai. I know that they did. And Jamie Dimon was there. I think he was the last of the 4 to go. One went a week for 4 weeks in a row. And I would have paid dearly to be a fly on the wall in that room to see what was discussed, because, you know, silver was discussed. And, you know, I'd like to think that the Chinese said, hey, stop effing around in silver and get out of your shorts. And I think JP Morgan was saying, and the other banks, I'd like to think that they were saying, hey, we're in between a rock and a hard place. You don't want our bank to implode. It's not good for the world. It's not good for China.
Yep.
If we go down. So help us out. We need to get out of this. And I think I would like to think that the Chinese said, stop effing around with silver, get out of your shorts now.
Yep.
And then we had this lull just after that visit. We just had the decrease in the price.
Yep.
Coming back down to 29.
Yep.
So what? We're back up to $30.60 now, I think.
Yep. I'm going to take a look at that before we close up today.
Watch the COT reports closely over the coming weeks to see if they're actually starting to close out their shorts.
Yep. I'll bet you that's exactly what happened because it was unsubstantiated. What did it go down? $2 on silver? You know, swings like that are highly unusual. He's going to take a call from his daughter here real quick. I'm going to take a look at the price of silver here before we actually close up. And I'm going to do that at my favorite place, which is Bullion Vault. BullionVault.com. I should share the screen, gang. I'm sorry. I will share the screen so you guys can see. This is where little old me goes. So we go to charts. It's bullionvault.com, by the way. You can see that right there in the address. Charts, and then I go to silver price. And then what I like about this, gang, is I can go back as far as I want to 20 years on the chart. And I'm interested in seeing that from time to time. And it's for historical reference. But if we go back 20 years, you know, we're at $30.69 right now. So silver did come up quite $30.70. But look back what it did in 2011. We haven't even touched the 2011 price of silver, despite all the money printing that's been going on since COVID. Gold, on the other hand, let's do that one real quick. This is bullionvault.com. Now we could look at the 2011 price of gold, and I messed it up. There we go. So we hit $1,800 in 2011. If you guys remember, this is when we had the pigs problem in Europe, Portugal, Italy, Germany, Spain, right? And it was a euro problem, and it was a big problem. Bitcoin went up to $1,000. Gold went up to a brand new all-time high. We've never seen it before of 1,800, or it wasn't 1,800, was it? Yeah, $1,837 per ounce. And so we have far surpassed that now.
So when you look at these two charts,
Mm-hmm.
you look at how gold is hitting all-time highs now.
Yep, that's right.
And then go back
That's
to the
just silver.
chart, and we're halfway there.
That's right.
We're halfway
That's right.
to our all-time highs.
Yep.
What is going on with silver? It's absolutely insane.
Yep. Apparently,
Silver demand is going off the chart,
there's
up at like a 45-degree angle. silver production is flat and going down.
Uh-huh.
No open pit mining in Mexico anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to have a little effect.
We're having a bit of a difficult time procuring silver from Mexico, is what Dr. David is saying. And he would be correct. And this was after 2 years of China leases of the silver mines in Mexico. And after that lease was up, they started closing their mines to the world. And by the way, as much as I dislike that, that was a very smart move for Mexico.
Absolutely.
Very smart move, very shrewd, because look at how much the price is going up. Look how much more that product is worth that's underneath the ground in Mexico.
Why
Mexico
would you
is
give up all your natural resources
Yeah.
at such cheap prices?
Well, actually, Mexico will be an energy provider for the world. They've got oil, they've got silver. Silver is energy too. Solar panels, what have you, electronics.
The green economy, it's a critical mineral.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, gang, hopefully that gives you a little perspective. And
Silver's going to go.
Yep, look at that chart.
I'm hopeful that we get to 50 by the end of the year.
Yep,
I think you're going to see some movement for sure by September.
Yep.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed, being optimistic, more optimistic than I usually am, but things have changed. And I really think that the bullion banks may be seeing the light and saying, look, we're not going to be able to maintain these short shenanigans any longer. We got to get out of these shorts. And I think their visit to China had something to do with that.
That's
So
very
I'm hoping that they're going to start exiting their shorts. We should watch the COT reports. You can go to silverseek.com. They give a report about the COT report every week there. Tells you whether their short positions are going up or down.
We haven't talked about something right before we close up the show. Let's hit something here. And that's the arbitrage opportunity between the price of silver in China and the United States, or more specifically, it's closer to them, England. So why wouldn't China be buying an enormous amount of silver from the United States right now, as opposed to from China? Or I'm sorry, from anywhere else for that matter. Why would India buy it from the United States and not from China, a very close trading partner to India? Why are they all coming to the United States to buy silver, gang? It's because the price is suppressed in the Western world. It's an arbitrage opportunity. In fact, if I had the money to do so, I would probably buy $1 billion worth of silver and then sell it in China. And
then wash, rinse, repeat.
That's correct. It's an arbitrage opportunity. And so this is China setting prices too, gang, and they're not walking to the beat of the drum of the Federal Reserve, of the LBMA, of the COMEX, or anyone else. They have their own drummer.
I don't know if you can pull up the Shanghai Exchange. Can you pull up the Shanghai
No,
Exchange?
I don't know how to do that, actually. Do you know?
Might just be able to Google it, plug it in, and see what the prices are.
Okay.
I've been hearing that gold price is about $100 higher, or has been as much as $100 an ounce higher, and silver is 10% above spot. In the West, in the East, it's 10% higher. So if it's $30 here on the COMEX, Shanghai, it's going to be $33.
I've been here before, but I can't find the prices. So let's see. Hang on. There's got to be an easier way to do it, and there's someone that actually provides this on their website because they're getting it someplace else. Gosh darn it. You know what? Ron's Basement knows that. In fact, I'm going to reach out to my friend Ron and ask him for his tomorrow morning video to please bring up the Shanghai price of gold and silver, compare it direct to American prices. That'll be a continuation of our conversation right now because we got to close up shop. By the way, the weather, it is starting to rain now. So we got wind and rain going on here, and we're going to disconnect. But guys, even though we're not holding another live stream ourselves tonight, Daniel and I have been invited by Luke Radowski to be on We Are Change tonight. So both of us will get an hour with Luke Radowski and his crew. So we look forward to seeing you there. So We Are Change on YouTube. We Are Change on Rumble is where you want to go. So David, thank you very much for joining us. Hope you come back for tomorrow's show. You bet.
Keep on, sound money people.
That's right. You guys are the greatest. Thank you very much for hanging in there with us today.